Yeah, promotional occurrence. So, this video is going to be about three rappers that you might not be aware of that have basically had pedophilia in their songs. Now this is a whole different subject. Everybody always talking about speculation about pedophiles in the rap game. It's always speculation about it, and like with Jay-Z and Foxy Brown, that's something that nobody never really settled. Cause how I see it is, she was hanging with the homies. Man, let's keep it real. When have you ever known, if you was a street dude, when have you ever known females to hang with the homies and nothing happened? Let's not even look at the age. Let's look at the gender and the homies. Let's look at that. A female with the homies. When have nothing ever happened? When females hang with the homies. When have nothing ever happened? Come on, man. Let's think about that. And then they drinking all the time and they hanging out all the time. Instead of pointing fingers, what I want to show you is, it's a time that America accepted this. Let's keep it 100. It was a time where it was almost acceptable to play around these young girls and get away with it. And nobody felt like it was pedophilia. Nobody felt like, and I'm gonna prove this with these lyrics. They wouldn't do this now. But I would say from 2009 and back, definitely to be safe, 2009 and back, you can find all questionable stuff with children and people talking about having sex with children. If you go, because that was the old America where they dipped and dabbed with children, with young girls. That was it. Nobody looked at it like pedophilia. And now we come into a new age with all this police. I'm gonna tell you what really did it. What I think did it was the police culture, TV shows. You think it's trivial, but to Americans, this, I believe, that's what did it. Now everybody want to be a cop. Now everybody want to investigate people, because these Law and Order TV shows and series and NSI and all this other TFR and all these shows, 911 with Angela Bassett, all these shows put a battery in people back to where actually their worldviews changed from less in the past, from being criminals to now I want to be kind of law enforcement in my worldviews. You see what I'm saying? No, that's real. That's real though. But before this time of the cop time, where everybody think they law and order, before everybody thought they was law and order, before everybody thought they was law and order, people was messing around with these young girls, and that's just what it was. And I could even take you back to the black culture where old school dudes did it all the time. I mean, even if you look at the movie Color Purple, you remember how young Celie was? That Whoopi Goldberg played. She already was having a baby, and how old was she in the movie? She wasn't 18. Celie was projected as about 15. About that? About 14, 15. She wasn't 16. She was kind of projected about 14, 15. Right? That's how it was. When the movie Color Purple, the original Color Purple, made by Steven Spielberg, the first one, not the one now, the first one, Celie couldn't have been no 18 when they first showed her. She wasn't 18, man. No, she was not 18. See, back then, that's how it was. Females, unfortunately, was looked at as sexual objects. Literally by men. It was more of a sexist world, and because it was, female girls were sexualized in a more masculine world where men dominated, and they didn't answer to women, and they didn't answer to having sex with girls. They didn't answer about that. They didn't answer to people about doing that because it was more of a masculine man world where that wasn't even considered. You did what you want to do with girls, with females. And that's how it goes. Further you go back in ancient time, people just did what they wanted to do with girls. Right or wrong. They just did what they wanted to do. So I would say for America, that era kind of ended around after 2009. You know what I'm saying? Now these politics came up with me and other people, and so everybody drew back all their pedophilia tendencies, if you will. So now you ain't gonna see it no more. You ain't gonna see it no more now because all these politics done popped off, and so now you ain't gonna see nobody slip and make mistakes like they used to. It was so bold. That's why I'm gonna show you. It was so bold, people didn't even think nothing was wrong with it. That's how you know. We was in a whole different time. We was coming out of the era where females were just done with whatever they wanted to do with females. Everything they wanted to do, they did it. You know, but now we're in a time now with all these politics. Now ain't nobody gonna make no mistakes and slip. You know what I'm saying? Not blatantly. But I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna start out with Ice Cube. So the rapper Ice Cube, you would think, oh no, he had that movie with Almost There with the little girl and the little boy, and he wouldn't dare be. We see Ice Cube as a household name. He got a basketball league. You know, he's a family oriented man. Okay, but he did not disown his lyrics, where he openly talked about sexualizing a minor. So this is how I found out about this, just in case you think I'm one of them people that go hunting down stuff on people. I just naturally found this information. Okay? So now you see. I just naturally found this information because there was this one song back in the day. You know what I'm saying? There was this one song back in the day called Nappy Dugout, right? So as a kid, I remember this song, Giving Up the Nappy Dugout. So as any other artist, you dig in the crates about lyrics and songs till you find the songs, right? Like on the internet, you find the lyrics, you might put part of the lyrics to try to find the song or whatever, and you just hound for this song, right? So I looked up Giving Up the Nappy Dugout. I found that easily, right? But then when I looked at the lyrics, I was like, whoa, I never knew it said that. So we're going to go through a line on the Ice Cube song, Giving Up the Nappy Dugout. You can go look at it for yourself. I think it's like the second verse. So in the song, I'm going to just give you the part, just the most important part. He says, this is in the Giving Up the Nappy Dugout lyrics by Ice Cube. He said, I know she is a minor and it is illegal, but the bitch is worse than Vanessa Del Rio. And if you decide to call rape, we got the little hooker on tape. Sound just like Ice Cube. I know, let's read that again. I know she is a minor and it is illegal. He didn't even care. Ice Cube is a household name. And y'all never said nothing about that song, Giving Up the Nappy Dugout. You can't, listen, even if you say it's shock rap or whatever you say it is, but you got to understand the consumers and how simple-minded Americans are. That they will feel justified doing something to a little girl based on the Ice Cube video, on the Ice Cube song. They'll feel like, okay, it's a little minor I had my eye on. You know what I'm saying? And now this song kind of inspires them to go pursue a minor sexually. So that's the power. So even though you could say, before I even start, You could argue that this is shock rap and it's not really something they would do, but you can't put out that message to the community. You can't put out a message talking about, I know she a minor and it is illegal, but the bitch is worse than Vanessa Del Rio. He said, I know she is a minor. He said this in a rap song. I know she is a minor and it is illegal. That's how bold the demonic energy was on Ice Cube at that time. Let's just keep it 100. He said, I know she is a minor and it is illegal, but the bitch is worse than Vanessa Del Rio. And if you decide to call rape, we got the little hooker on tape. It's no coming back from that, man. See, the prophet is the only one that work up to the ranks, man. We get everybody put in check, bro. We get everybody put in check. We put everybody in check. See, that's the number one gangster of America, right? For black people. You know what I'm saying? And the prophet, look, there you go. There you have it. On the same issue y'all playing around, y'all didn't say nothing about Ice Cube's song, Giving Up the Nappy Dugout. When he talk about, I know she is a minor and it is illegal, but he said, and it is illegal. He knew it was illegal. He said it. He wrote these lyrics. I know she is a minor and it is illegal. I had the whole album. That's how I know. I know she is a minor and it is illegal, but the bitch is worse than Vanessa Del Rio. And if you decide to call rape, I'm guessing statutory rape. We got the little hooker on tape. And you can read the rest of the lyrics where he talk about tell her to wear the little skirt tight on the butt and all that stuff. Now you tell me, when somebody make a song like that, what kind of conscience does that person have? What kind of mindset does that person have towards children at that time? When he done wrote something like that and he see pretty little girls, right, that's minors, what you think is crossing a man's mind that wrote something like that? The same thing. I know she is a minor and it is illegal. But I don't care, basically. So if he wrote a song, I know she is a minor, it's no mistaking it. I know she is a minor and it is illegal. How you think a person like that was in public when he seen these little girls that was minors? You don't know what he done. You don't know what he was thinking. Thought process, right? Okay, well, this shows us his thought process, doesn't it? You know his thoughts. You know what Ice Cube thoughts are? The best way to see somebody's thoughts is what they wrote, right? You know what Ice Cube's thoughts was? I know she is a minor and it is illegal. This is thoughts. But the bitch is worse than Vanessa Del Rio. That's his thoughts. And if you decide to call rape, we got the little hooker on tape. That's his thoughts. That's the way that man thought, whether you like it or not. And like I said, even if you call this shock rap or whatever, and this something this person wouldn't do in real life, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know what he did in real life. I know he thought like that. I know you try to trivialize it, but like that's your brother and you don't know this man. So you can't say for sure, especially in California where they got all them different exotic races of men and women and children. You don't know what he did back in the day. You don't know what he did. All I know is he wrote, this was his mindset at the time when he wrote Nappy Dugout. I know she is a minor and it is illegal. Y'all let Ice Cube get away with that. Now now this is the true test. Could Michael Jackson write those lyrics? Boom. That's 7 out. Could Michael Jackson write those lyrics? That's how we gonna figure it out. This is gonna be Michael Jackson is gonna be a poster boy for how we know we could. what could be acceptable and not. Right? This is how we gonna figure out what is acceptable. Could Michael Jackson write, I know she is a minor and it is illegal? Could Michael Jackson write those lyrics? I know she is a minor, I know it's illegal. Can Michael Jackson write that? But the bitch is worse than Velda. Michael Jackson couldn't have wrote no lyrics like this and lived after he was accused and everything. Could Michael, and even if you consider this shock music, could Michael Jackson do that? No. What's the difference? They're two men. These was two men. Why couldn't Michael Jackson write these lyrics and be just joking? Let's just say before he was accused. Would you have accepted Michael Jackson making those lyrics? Nope. Because you held him to a certain standard coming from Jackson 5. You wouldn't have accepted Michael Jackson talking about, I know she is a minor and it is illegal. You would have gave him a bad rap for being a pedophile right then. Before all that stuff happened. Let's just say it happened before the Thriller album, like Off the Wall album. You would have thought Michael Jackson was a pedophile. Yeah, Michael Jackson, he don't like no grown women. You could say Ice Cube didn't like no grown women. All the women he could have been talking about. This is what amazes me. How at that time Ice Cube made Death Certificate. That's the album it came from. He already had success with NWA. This is his solo album that he wrote this song on, just in case you're wondering. This wasn't NWA. This wasn't a verse from or lyrics from NWA. This was once Ice Cube branched out to his own solo career, right? Which this wasn't even his first album. This wasn't even his first solo album. At that, this was deep into his career. Somebody that's that successful, wouldn't you think he would talk about a grown woman? All these beautiful women. This is what I want you to look at. All these beautiful women that Ice Cube was around. All these sophisticated honeys, beautiful women. He could have been talking to, he could have had any kind of woman he wanted from any type of race or whatever. But yet, you will find many of these famous people want something they can't have. Something that's forbidden. Something that's off lyrics. I guess because it's too easy to just get a beautiful woman. So now you just want something a little out of character, off limits, something that's forbidden. Because can you explain why a grown man that got success with NWA, all those California girls over there, beautiful, all types, all kind of beautiful women in LA, in California. All kind of beautiful women. He already had success. He was with NWA, and this wasn't even his first solo album. Because the first solo album, he had the curl, right? Okay, so by Death Certificate, he had a fade. He had his hair cut down. He done cut the curl off. So everybody remember the first Ice Cube album? He had the curl, right? Right. Okay, so Death Certificate wasn't his first solo album. Solo album now. So this had to be his second or third solo album. He had all kind of success. Mind you, he had movies out. He had Boys in the Hood. You know what I'm saying? He had movies out. You know, everybody knew him at that point. With that being said, he could have had any kind of woman he really wanted. But he took the time, after all that success, to write the song Giving Up the Nappy Dugout, where he say, I know she is a minor and it is illegal. He said it is illegal. He knew it. It wasn't, oh, I don't know what to think. It isn't, oh, it's left up to every man's discretion. He said, I know she is a minor and it is illegal. Next. Eminem. Eminem sexualized Miley Cyrus when she was only 15 years old. He talked about masturbating to Hannah Montana when she was, and she probably might have even been younger, and from the images in his mind, because when he wrote the lyrics, she was 15. But if you going back in your mind from Hannah Montana images, she was younger than that. So you talk about 13, 14 years old images in his head when he wrote the lyrics. If she was 15 when he wrote the lyrics. Make sense? He's not thinking about the present day Hannah Montana. He's thinking about some reruns he's seen on TV. Right or wrong? Which means she was even younger than the age she was when he wrote the lyrics. Smart people understand, right? Okay. So the images he had in his mind of Hannah Montana when on TV was probably 14 at best. 14 to 13, because if you wrote the song when she was 15, you weren't seeing the present Hannah Montana images when you wrote the song. You were thinking about a year ago Hannah Montana, which means she was either 14 or 13 when you thought of whatever was in your mind about Hannah Montana. She was between 15 and 13 for you, whatever you was thinking about. But he released the song in August 2008. Miley Cyrus was 15 in August 2008. You see where I'm going with this? So if you wrote the song in August, if Eminem recorded the song, he recorded the song at 3 a.m. August 2008. She was 15. So at that time she was 15. You think he just went and watched TV like a couple days before he recorded that? No. His idea of Hannah Montana had to be at least a couple years old, right? What he was referencing to, in other words, was probably a show of Hannah Montana that was recorded 2 years previous to when he recorded that song, which means she probably was like 13 or 14. Think about it, or even earlier. It depends on, especially with a rapper, how long he had that line. We don't even know how long he had those lyrics. You don't know how long he had those songs. You can't say, oh, he just wrote that. He could have been sitting on that for like 3 years. You see how bad it is? He could have been sitting on those lyrics. He could have been sitting on the whole song for like 3 years. You see where I'm going with this? He could have wrote that. Any rapper know he could have wrote that song. Most likely he wrote that song when she was like 13 or 14. If he released it when she was 15. You see where I'm going with this? You think he thought about all of that when she was 15 or younger? Just a year later, before he recorded it, she would have been 14. 2 more years, she would have been 13. The bottom line is nobody in this country, in America, sexualizes a 15-year-old girl as a grown man, right? That's what Eminem did. And my thing is this. If America lost according to their own standard, then America should be gone. Don't try to reference to Brazil and what they do in Brazil. We ain't talking about that. We talking about according to your standard that you made us all believe in, is that everything that's under 18 is off limits. Now the crap is hitting the fan because of the profit. So now you want to adjust and look at the whole world and see what everybody else do. Nah, we ain't talking about that. We talking about the standard that we all know. For all of us that's smart, we know the standard of America. And it wasn't no 15 and 16 and 17. Most men in America only sexualize somebody over the age of 18, right or wrong. That's our culture, right? That's the culture here in America. It ain't under 18. So Epstein files is nothing when you're marrying children. you're marrying children in America. Epstein files is a Jedi mind trick from y'all to stop paying attention to the fact that they marrying children. So you can feel like, oh, we don't do that, and these Americans over here are pointing fingers at that, and this and man, they all dirty for marrying children. America has been marrying children since 1929. The Jedi mind trick is to have certain people pointing fingers at Jeffrey Epstein like that's the pedophile. No, buddy. And then so we can side over here with Americans over here like they ain't pedophiles, but the pedophile's Jeffrey Epstein, a dead man. That's the pedophile. Buddy, you know what's worse than Jeffrey Epstein? Child marriage laws in 34 states of America. You're marrying children. I'm not the smartest man in the world, but if you get to take the child home and be with the child 24/7, isn't that worse than Jeffrey Epstein? If you can take the child home 24/7 in a child marriage, when you marry the child, you got the child 24/7, right? If you marry a child in America, you have the child 24/7, right? Because you're married to the child, right? That's not worse than Jeffrey Epstein. He didn't stay with children 24/7. He wasn't with the children 24/7, buddy. What's worse than Jeffrey Epstein is child marriage laws where the person take the child home 24/7. So let's read the lyrics. 3 a.m. as in 3 a.m. in the morning. This is the Eminem song. This is the exact line where he talks about masturbating to Hannah Montana. When she couldn't have been no older than 15, because when he recorded the song, she was literally 15. So when he was in the studio and made that song, she was 15 years old. Okay? So here's the lyrics. Surfing, he's talking about being in his living room, about to masturbate to Hannah Montana. Surfing every channel, like on TV. Surfing every channel until I find Hannah Montana. Then reach for the aloe and lanolin. Bust all over the wall. So he's talking about getting aloe and lanolin lotion to masturbate and bust off as to ejaculate while watching Hannah Montana. Okay? And so you could say technically you can't tell what legally, right, what he's doing. But we all know we're not retarded, right? Okay, so we know when he say surfing every channel until I find Hannah Montana, then reach for the aloe and lanolin, bust all over the wall. What do you think he talking about? Busting? What are you talking about? Busting the walls? Busting all over the wall. What you think he talking about? Wouldn't it be irrelevant? You watch a TV, do you talk about the walls all of a sudden? But you talking about grabbing lotion? Every man know what that means. Surfing every channel until I find Hannah Montana, then reach for the aloe and lanolin. He's talking about getting lotion to masturbate to Hannah Montana. When he wrote the song, she was 15. He wrote the song, he recorded the song, when he recorded the song, because I don't know when he wrote the song, it could have been earlier. When he recorded the song, it was August 2008. I went and found it. Miley Cyrus in August 2008 was 15 years old when the song was recorded. So we all understand he was talking about masturbating. We not playing Jedi mind tricks or retarded games, right? So we know when he say he was surfing on the channels to get Hannah Montana, then reach for the aloe and lanolin, right? That's the lotion, right? Okay, so We know from aloe, we know it's lotion, right? Okay. And bust all over the wall. You know, we all know in American terminology what that means. Okay, he ejaculated, okay, from masturbating to Hannah Montana with lotion. Okay? That's the white boy coming out right there. You know what I'm saying? Just when you thought, how people say Eminem is a black dude like us, that's the white boy part right there. Because a black man can't talk about no little white girl masturbating to no little white girl. No, we couldn't get away with nothing like, especially for a white girl, we couldn't get away with masturbating to talking about masturbating to a little white girl. They wouldn't let Michael Jackson do it. Michael Jackson couldn't do it. Michael Jackson couldn't have wrote no song talking about surfing the channels until I find Hannah Montana, then reach for the aloe and lanolin, bust all over the wall. Michael Jackson couldn't write nothing like that. But Eminem, cause he a white boy, that's shock rap. But ain't no way in the world you gonna qualify. Listen, anytime it comes to pedophilia and descriptions of girls, underage girls, how can you qualify that as shock rap? You gotta look at it and say, okay, that's beyond shock rap as far as your mentality. I would even say that as far as your mentality, that's beyond shock rap, bro. That ain't nah, cause my mind ain't gonna go in no lane like that, no matter what I'm talking about. As far as shock rap or whatever kind of rap, my mind ain't gonna go into no lane talking about masturbating to no little girl. That's real. No, hold up. As a real rapper and artist, why? No matter what it's in the name of shock rap or whatever, a black man can't do it. Michael Jackson can't do it. So why Eminem could do it? Oh, because he a white boy and we classify what he doing as shock rap. Oh, so if a black man do it, it's shock rap. If a black man talk about masturbating to Hannah Montana, we gonna look at, white people gonna look at that as shock rap, or that's a sign of pedophilia. A white boy does it and that's just Eminem. But then he got a cultic following that would even think to do the same thing. You don't think none of them little crazy white boys probably masturbated to Hannah Montana because of Eminem? Oh, all them stands. You don't think they done it just to say they did it? Oh man, you don't know white boys. I figure one of those white boys did it to say they done it. Yeah, I masturbated to Hannah Montana like Eminem said. Yeah, I got drunk and masturbated to Hannah Montana like Eminem said. And then some people will say, well, yeah, I always thought she was cute too. You don't think all them stands that hang on to every lyric that Eminem wrote, you don't think all them stands, you don't think one of them masturbated to Hannah Montana just to say they did it? You know how a white boy turn up, he gonna try to get evil. He gonna try to get bad when he get high. When he get drunk, he gonna try to get bad, ain't he? He go, hey, all them stands in the trailer parks, they getting drunk with their girlfriend. He gonna go in the other room and when he done went to another level with Eminem, ain't he? He done left his girlfriend behind because he done went to another level, ain't he? That type, right? He done went to another level and went to the other room and left his girlfriend behind because he on another level right now. You don't think he gonna lay back there and rub out one, looking at Hannah Montana, trying to be like Eminem? You don't think that influenced any of his cultic following to talk about masturbating to Hannah Montana? You don't think they're gonna look at her a little bit differently, knowing they hold on to every word he say? Now them white boys, they holding on to every word he say. See, the bottom line is a white boy can go where you can't go as a nigga. Oh, you couldn't say nothing about masturbating to no Hannah Montana. Oh, a little white girl. You could say a rapper could. Hey. What Ice Cube said was Vanessa Del Rio. That sound like a Spanish woman. Del Rio. I'm pretty sure that's Spanish. I'm pretty sure Vanessa Del Rio ain't no white girl. Oh, so they let him go. They don't care what we do among ourselves. So that ain't the same thing. Let a black dude talk about masturbating to a white girl. I guarantee it'll be a problem. I guarantee it'll be a problem, buddy. Oh, I ain't done. For all these little secret society, they love Young Money and Lil Wayne, don't they? These little gay dudes love the little Young Money and Drake and all them, don't they? Oh yeah, they do. They do. They love the secret society. Love Drake and the Young Money. Okay, I got something for you. The song Every Girl. The song Every Girl, right? Every girl in the world. Mac Main say in about 3 years on his version. Mac Main. I think he like the third verse. Mac Main say, in about 3 years, holla at me, Miley Cyrus, right? Everybody know that line. I was listening to music. I was listening to all that back then. In about 3 years, holla at me, Miley Cyrus. That's how I remembered it, because the way he said it and how shocking it was. Because everybody knew who Miley Cyrus was at that time, that little white girl, right? Because she came out gyrating when she first came out. She had to break that girl image. So she had to come out freaky, and to break the Hannah Montana image, that's why she came out like a mascot doing all that crazy freaky stuff. Because that was the only way she was going to break in the music business, in the industry. If you were a little clean knit girl, how you going to go into music and in the industry and break past being considered like a little girl, like a good little girl? You got to come out doing stuff. That's why she came out like that. So everybody knew her at the time when they said Miley Cyrus, because she was gyrating all on stage with that little big hand, that thing. You remember she was doing all of that? And you like, what in the world? Like, it just didn't make no sense. Like, but she was trying to, it was business sense. She had to break the girl image off and become a woman. And the only way she could do it with that little Miley Cyrus image was to gyrate and move around like a woman. That's what she was doing. But anyway, the intention is on these people that sexualized this girl when she was like 15 years old. Mac Main said he made it clear she was underage, because he said in about 3 years, that means she was 15. He was shooting, I'm pretty sure he was shooting for 18, right? He wasn't shooting for 17, was he? So then, put 2 and 2 together. 15, 3 more years, she'd be 18. Which proves my point. She was 15 at the time when he wrote that song. They also wrote that song in 2009. That song, Every Girl, came out in 2009. So that same year, Miley Cyrus was sexualized by Young Money and Eminem in the same year. You can't tell me she wasn't having sex with all them rappers. A couple years later, she came out wearing Jordan jerseys on rap videos. Man, they was sexualizing her. I ain't hating, but I'm just saying. Man, I bet everybody had sex with that girl. You know they did. They was waiting for her. She had that cute little look. They liked it. I know she and you could tell she did. She had sex with everybody, man. When she first came out, then she probably cleaned up. She partied when she first came out. That's how I usually go. She partied when she first came out. Then she just, she got tired of it probably. She seen the darkness of it. She seen the darkness of her ways. Then she kind of just evened out and probably got in relationships and things like that. But in the beginning, she was partying, man, based on all that attention. I know that for sure. This dude was like, in about 3 years, holla at me, Miley Cyrus. In about 3 years. Would you let somebody say that to your daughter? In about 3 years, holla at me. This is Young Money. No disrespect to Wayne or Cash Money or Birdman, but they should have let that song come out. No. Somebody talking about in about 3 years, holla at me like Miley Cyrus. They shouldn't have known. Young Money shouldn't have let that song come out. And look at all the people that was on the song. Drake shouldn't have been on the song when somebody talking about holla at me 3 years. Holla at me 3 years, Miley Cyrus. If Kendrick Lamar should have talked about anybody pedophile, here you go right here. Mac Main talking about in 3 years, holla at me, Miley Cyrus. Come on, man. Listen, could Michael Jackson say that? That's how we gonna always go back to Michael Jackson. Could Michael Jackson say, holla at me in 3 years? We'll be like, no, not Mike. No, Michael. Don't say that, Michael. Don't say that, Mike. You can't. Michael Jackson couldn't say, hey, yo, holla at me in 3 years. So why a rapper can say that? That's a different standard, ain't it? Oh, so it's a different standard for a rapper. A rapper could say holla at me 3 years, but Michael Jackson couldn't. Prince and Michael Jackson couldn't say holla at me in 3 years. They couldn't say that, right? Luther Vandross, if he was alive, he couldn't have said holla at me in 3 years. No matter what his sexuality was, he couldn't say holla at me in 3 years, could he? So why a rapper could say holla at me in 3 years? Would you let somebody talk to your daughter and say, yo, holla at me in 3 years? Would you let somebody walk past your daughter and say, yo, holla at me in 3 years? You're going to be like, what? Hold up, homie. This is a grown man, by the way. This is a grown man, bruh. Maybe it was a teenager dude. You might rough him up or whatever, right? You might slap him around. This is a grown, musty man. Think about a grown, musty man talking about, walk past your daughter, yo, holla at me in 3 years. Imagine that. What would you say if somebody went past your 15-year-old daughter and said, yo, holla at me in 3 years? You'd be like, hold up, homie. Hold up, homie. How old are you? That's the first thing I would ask, to just get that on out there. How old are you, bro? Oh, man, I'm 28. You know, Mac Main was almost 35 when he came into the game, wasn't he? Mac Main was about 35, wasn't he? I'm exaggerating, but hey, Mac Main was about 35, wasn't he? He looked like he was about 35, didn't he? Hey, man, look, man. Can you imagine Mac Main walking past your daughter? Let's put him actually in the equation. Look, old as he look. He ain't like he look like a young dude. That's what make it worse. Mac Main don't look like no young dude, do he? No, he don't. That dude like he about 35. He always look old. Like one of them ghostwriters that's been writing in the industry for about 10 years. He look like one of them dudes that's been writing in the industry for about 10 years, don't he? Come on, man. Come on, don't he? He look like a ghostwriter. He been writing he look like he been a ghostwriter for 10 years, don't he? Mac Main look like he been a ghostwriter for about 10 years. Hey, he got that ghostwriter look, don't he? Hey, man, look. You gonna let a dude that look like like he been ghostwriting for 10 years and look like he about 35 walk past your 15-year-old daughter and say, oh yeah, in about 3 years, holla at me, Miley Cyrus. Would you let somebody, this is a legitimate question, would you let somebody say, holla at my daughter, and you can holla at me in 3 years to your daughter? You let somebody say that to your daughter? What's the difference? What's the difference? There is no difference. It's the same age of child. Someone that you would try to protect just like your daughter. So for all you rappers, you wouldn't let nobody say that to your daughter, would you? You gonna let somebody say, yo, holler at me about 3 years. Around the way. You know how you be walking around, whatever, right? Think about you with your daughter. If somebody say, oh, yo, holler at me about 3 years. You gonna say, hold up. You gonna stop that right there. You gonna be like, hold up, homie, what? Hold up. Holler at her, holler at you in about 3 years. What you talking about, bruh? What you talking about? Some dudes might clarify like that. And then how old are you, man? Oh, you about 28. You telling my daughter to holler at you in 3 years. Bruh. A dude might pull out his pistol right there, bruh. A dude might pull out a pistol right there. Like, bruh. You can't be serious, yo. If you don't walk away right now, some dude might say something like that. If you don't walk away right now, man, I'm about to hurt you. Walk away, bro. Walk away. Some people might do that. You know, some people might not. Some people might not have that patience. And depending on how you catch people on a certain day, they might not have that patience. You know, it's dependence. Especially with street dudes, it's depending on how you catch them, what day you catch them on. You don't never know. You'll never know. But I know for sure, you ain't gonna let nobody sit up and tell your 15-year-old daughter, holler at me in 15 years, in 3 years. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna let nobody sexualize your daughter at the time. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna, once she 18, ain't nothing you can do. All you can do is tell her not to date a bum. You know what I'm saying? That's all you can do. But if she under 15, you know, if she 15, you gonna let somebody say, holler at me in 3 years in front of you? And this a grown man? No, man, you ain't finna, I know you ain't finna let nobody say that. Okay? That's the 3 cases, man, that I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, bro. This is what I'm showing y'all, man. Everything y'all talk about has been right there before your face. Young Money, that song Wayne shouldn't have let that come out, man. Nah, you say, if somebody say, holler at me in 3 years, Miley Cyrus, I know he heard it. You can't say Wayne didn't hear the song. You can't even say Birdman. Birdman heard the song because he was paying attention to the Young Money at the time. That was one of the first songs Young Money made. So you can't say Birdman didn't hear it either. You can't say Birdman didn't hear Every Girl. Now, all them other random songs that Birdman might have didn't really listen to it. You know what I'm saying? But Every Girl had a video, and that's when Young Money first came on the scene. So it ain't no way you can tell me Birdman didn't hear that song. Birdman heard it, and Wayne definitely heard it. And they ain't say, and that song still came out. And that's what I'm trying to say. Especially with Wayne. Wayne was over Young Money. And Cash Money, Birdman gonna make sure ain't everything legit. You know what I'm saying? He gonna come check things out. You know what I'm saying? So you know he's seen it. You know they both heard. You know Birdman and Wayne heard this song. And Mac Main wasn't no ain't built like Birdman and Wayne and all of them, man. That ain't you know, Birdman ain't gonna say nothing like that. I ain't saying he is, and Wayne ain't gonna say nothing like that. But that song should have came out though. You know what I'm saying? That song should have came out. You know, Drake was on the song, everything. Look at that. Look at that, man. Nobody ain't say nothing. Nobody ain't say nothing. You know, all them rappers. Nicki was there too. Nicki Minaj was there too. She heard it. She heard all of that. She had beef with Miley Cyrus. So you know she thought about that lyric. It caught her ear. And come on. She probably, every once in a while, she probably listened to all that Young Money music. Think about it, wouldn't you? Especially at y'all first moment when y'all really. So you know she done went back and revisited that. Think about it. You know she have. From the time she said something to Miley Cyrus, you don't think she went back? You don't think she remembered that lyric? Of course, man. That's what I'm trying to show you. My point is, nobody thought nothing. We let stuff like that ride. If somebody said something like that, obviously, we let it go. If people was thinking about that kind of stuff, we let it go. Because that's how it was in America. That's my greatest punchline and point and purpose. into showing you this, not to just point fingers, because I already know it's there anyway. I want to show you, my main punchline in this video is to show you how people thought back then. They did stuff like this. This is how it was. And then once these politics came up with me and other people, you know, now everybody is either judgmental or out here like they John Wayne for kids, trying to be John Wayne for children. They think they John Wayne for children, don't they? You John Wayne for children, ain't you? You Bionic Man for children, don't you? You remember Bionic Man, the video game? You Bionic Man for children. You Bionic Man for children. Listen, man, let me tell you something, man. Listen, let me tell you something. Back in the day, people was doing all this stuff with these children. And that's how it was. Now, you know, now we want to tighten up and everything and that like we, you know, we was never like that. And we going to point to people and we going to crucify people like R. Kelly, you know, Epstein files, you know what I'm saying, Jeffrey Epstein, all the people affiliated with that. But to me, when you got a whole culture of pedophilia, I don't see the difference. I do not see the difference. What's the difference? Because the worst thing you got on the table is marrying children. That, can we establish that? What's worse than a pedophile? Somebody that marries a child and takes the child home and lay in the bed with the child, man. You don't get it? They get to do whatever they want to do. You should be mad as a real man. Not because you're jealous. You're held to a different standard. That's why. You're held to a different standard. These men have been taking children home in America, the United States of America, this whole time, while you've been held to another standard. You can't even smell a girl without them saying something. Yeah, it looked like he was trying to smell her. Looked like he was trying to smell her. He was putting his nose out there like he was trying to smell the girl. He looked like he was trying to smell her. Man, you can't even try to smell a girl, let alone marrying the girl. And my thing is this. I can tell you one thing, and God know this. I tell you one thing, buddy. I ain't never think about marrying no child. You ever thought about marrying a child, bro? Marrying a child. Well, guess who did? America. The United States of America. They've been marrying children since 1929. Trump can't have this real conversation. He can go fight Iran. This is what men do. They hide behind masculinity and toxic masculinity. But really, some of them are pedophiles, or they can't really face their flaws in their incompetency. So they can hide behind, you know, blowing up stuff and blowing up Iran, talking about Epstein files, acting innocent, Trump kind of low-key Jedi mind tricking like, well, I didn't do that. I wouldn't do those kind of things. Or, you know, Jeffrey Epstein, I kicked him out of my club. He said he kicked him out of his club, didn't he? Oh, yeah, see, so the Jedi mind trick is, I ain't with that kind of stuff. But yet you sat in the White House as Donald Trump, your first term, and they passed child marriage laws July 1st, 2019, right or wrong. Okay, so Trump was the president when the last time y'all passed child marriage laws. You realize that, right? You see why I'm not playing? You talking about Epstein files, I wouldn't even lower my mind to care about that. That's a random pedophile. That's random people having fun with children. You got a whole country doing this stuff. I'm not trivializing it, but it's a drop in the bucket is my point. You got a whole culture, and what the culture is to create it is child marriage laws in America. Now show me one of your leaders that talked about it. Al Sharpton didn't talk about it. Jesse Jackson didn't talk about no child marriage laws. Malcolm X didn't talk about child marriage laws. And it was all back then. Martin Luther King Jr. did not talk about child marriage laws, did he? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. That's 7 out. He ain't talk about no child marriage laws. No, he didn't. They had a chance to talk about it. You don't believe me, do you? Okay, so if child marriage laws was out during 1929, and it was no secret that Malcolm X and it was no secret that Martin Luther King Jr. were both vocally critics of the legal system of America, right? Then why couldn't they look up law books in the library and see the child marriage laws in a library? You thinking like it was an older time and they couldn't see it. Why they couldn't see it? All they had to do was get a law book from the library in the 60s, in the 50s. They could have easily went to the library and got the law books and seen they had child marriage laws. Do you realize that? Okay. Do you realize that they did study the laws anyway? So Malcolm X never studied any laws in America. Malcolm X never studied any laws in the United States. So his whole life, he ain't never go check the laws and see what about anything. You see what I'm talking about, right? So how did he do that when he don't have the internet? He went and got a book. That's what he did. For him to talk intelligently about any laws, how you think he was going to do it? He went to the library and got a book on laws. Why couldn't he do that for child marriage? So I gotta put you in the 60s and the 50s so you can see how he could have done it. Could have went right to the library. That's what everybody did back then. That's what everybody did back then. Martin Luther King Jr., did he do that? Did Martin Luther King Jr., well read as he was, did he talk about child marriage one time in his life? No, he didn't. Not one time in his life, buddy. Not one time in his life. Al Sharpton, did he talk about it? No, he didn't. Donald Trump, has he ever talked about child marriage laws? Have you ever heard him say any sound bites about child marriage laws? Did you hear him say anything? Did you hear any sound bites produced talking about child marriage laws by Donald Trump? Did you? You didn't hear it, did you? That's all I'm talking about, buddy. Listen, buddy, if I was a pedophile, I wouldn't feel strange with everybody doing all this stuff to children. With between the Epstein files and child marriage laws, if I was a pedophile, I wouldn't feel abnormal. I would feel like everybody doing the same thing. I would feel like other people have these same desires. I'm just saying, if I was a pedophile, I would feel absolutely normal in America. In America, I would feel absolutely normal if I was a pedophile. That's all Jeffrey Epstein was doing. He felt normal. Hey, let's be real. Hey, if you all around these celebrities and you got children around these celebrities, you don't feel normal doing what you're doing. Did you think Jeffrey Epstein felt normal? Okay, if you felt like it was abnormal, then why would you be freely doing it in front of other celebrities? People that could go talk to a whole bunch of other people on top of that. These were famous people that could have spread information about you like wildfire. You see, no, hold up. I want you to think about that. Because this is a telltale sign that everybody was with this kind of stuff. Well, then why would he let celebrities come in and see him doing this? And they could go to anybody. They could go to everybody. Because everybody was doing it. That's why, buddy. Read between the lines. If you a pedophile, are you going to bring famous people to your house and show them what you're doing? Are you going to bring famous people all around the world, if they not doing the same thing, and bring them to your house and let them see what you're doing? And they can go tell everybody. They could go tell the tabloids. That's the first thing you got to worry about. They could go tell the paparazzi. So see this part? Jeffrey Epstein show you that everybody was doing this stuff because who would be stupid enough to invite other celebrities that can go to the paparazzi? You know what that tells a smart man? They all were doing it. They all were cool with it. Why they got the pictures then? Well, looks like they was cool with young girls. That's what it looked like to me. Well then, so see, he was just the nucleus, the center to all of it. That all the other people that like the same thing gravitated towards. Jeffrey Epstein just represents the nucleus to all the pedophilia. He just represents a center to it that all the other pedophiles draw to. That's all he was. Some would say he kind of innocent in that sense. Everybody else doing it. You don't think he knew about child marriage? I think he did. I think he did know about it. I think a man that was scouting girls all the time like that, you don't think he knew about the age of consent and child marriage laws? I bet he did. I bet a man like that did, and that's probably why he ain't think nothing bad about it. He didn't want to kill himself into America changed. To where, like I said, to where now the spotlight is on America and what they doing with these children through all these situations. Now everybody, now he killed himself because everybody changed. Well, he didn't kill himself before. It wasn't on his conscience before. It wasn't on his conscience because he got caught. He didn't care about people knowing. You don't get it, do you? He did not care if people knew. So why would he kill himself based on people knowing about it? Bro. You're not thinking. You're not thinking. If Jeffrey Epstein allowed people into his world of pedophilia, he obviously didn't care. He was not like the average pedophile. He did not care about people knowing. So you think he killed people? You think he killed himself because he was gonna be convicted, or people was gonna know about it, and then he didn't care about nobody knowing about it? He killed himself because everybody looked at it differently than they did before, and it just came down on him. So that's why you can say he was kind of like an innocent person. According to his culture, according to all the other people that wasn't saying nothing to him, they ain't say nothing to him, obviously. Man, look, listen, he had all them girls around. Did anybody really say something to him? So then everybody was cool with this dude, man. So then everybody changed, right? And that's what made him kill himself. Once everybody changed, and act like they ain't had nothing to do with it, and this country wasn't like that. It just that's why he probably killed himself like that. I think so. I think he killed himself because America just threw him under the bus like he was by himself. We're having those desires, and we got all these people associated with him. What I realize is he was like the hub for pedophilia. That's all Epstein represents, is a famous hub for pedophilia, where people can have it on a little tray and have their little hors d'oeuvres, pedophile hors d'oeuvres, like test this out and test this out. That's all it was. That's all it was. And see, back then, like I said, men did this in this country. Men engaged in this, and no one said anything about it. No one cared. No one cared. Now all of a sudden everybody cares. How you know I know nobody don't care? Because you cold still steady making child marriage laws. How you still making child marriage laws and you don't care? Make it make sense, bro. Make it make sense. Donald Trump was the president when you passed new child marriage laws. How more relevant can child marriage laws be in your country? When the sitting president, the present president, was the president when you passed new child marriage laws. I can see if it was Bill Clinton or something that was the president when you passed new child marriage laws. No. Donald Trump was the president when you pass new child marriage laws. Your present president, he can do everything else, but he can't have a talk. He can't have a conversation with the prophet. He can't have a conversation with me, where I expose the facts that he was the president when they passed new child marriage laws, and he didn't do anything about it. He didn't say anything about it, and there ain't no way in the world you're gonna talk about pedophilia, but you in the White House saying nothing about child marriage laws to marry children in your country. And this is for the whole country too. You ain't say nothing about it, did you? Well, how it get passed? You didn't argue about it. You didn't protest about it. Did America protest about the child marriage laws? I never seen it a day in my life. Did you? That's 7 hours. Did you see a protest about child marriage laws? Oh, we see a protest about animal rights. Rights for animals. Rights for animals. Did you ever see a protest about child marriage laws? Did you see a protest before July 1st, 2019, protesting the new child marriage laws? Nobody said nothing. You can go look, CNN didn't say nothing. Why CNN didn't say nothing about child marriage laws? They can talk about everything else goofy. Look at the goofy stuff they talk about. MSNBC, Fox News. Look at all this stuff they talk about. Did they go look and see if they talked about child marriage being passed while Donald Trump was the president, his first term? Go look it up. Nobody said nothing. And you want to talk to the prophet about pedophilia? It's not going to happen, buddy. It's not going to happen. Because your country sat back and watched new child marriage laws be passed. Jay-Z, the rapper, didn't say nothing about child marriage laws, did he? Beyonce, did she say something about child marriage laws in America? Did she ever say anything about it? Well, Jay-Z said something about stop and frisk, right? But not stopping and frisking the children in child marriage. He didn't say nothing about frisking the children in child marriage, did he? No. Jay-Z didn't say nothing about frisking the children in child marriage. Did Snoop Dogg say something about child marriage laws? Snoop didn't say nothing, did he? Denzel Washington, did he say something about child marriage laws? You know, Denzel act like he a philosopher these days, don't he? He like a borderline philosopher. Did he say something about child marriage laws? Denzel Washington didn't say nothing, did he? You see the prophet. Listen, buddy. You see why I shine the way I do, bro? Show me, did Angela Bassett say something about child marriage laws? She on that 911 show jumping around in a uniform, jumping around. Did she say anything about child marriage laws? She jumping around getting musty in the 911 in the police uniform, getting musty in the 911. Angela Bassett getting musty in the police officer uniform. She ain't say nothing about child marriage laws, did she? She running around getting musty in a police officer uniform. She running around getting musty in a police uniform. But she ain't say nothing about child marriage laws, did she? Why she getting musty in a police uniform, did she? Hey, did the police institution of America, did the police institution in America, did the police institution in America say something about child marriage laws? Did they say something? The police say something? Did Michael Jordan say something? The basketball player. Did Jordan did Jordan say something? Michael Jordan didn't say nothing about child marriage laws, did he? I'm sure he passed out Jordans to all the kids 1,000,000 times. But did he say something about child marriage laws? He didn't, did he? That's what I'm talking about. It's funny, ain't it? It's like the Twilight Zone. You see why I think this? Not even Jordan, Michael Jordan. I'm showing you the most cultured people in your country never said nothing about child marriage laws in your country. Michael Jordan said something? He didn't, did he? He didn't, did he? Did Barack Obama say something? He ain't say nothing about child marriage laws. He had 2 terms in the White House. You see what I'm talking about, right? But these are the same people that would insinuate that we would kill people for children. So why you ain't kill the child marriage laws, bruh? You ain't kill the child marriage laws. But you killed child molesters, but you didn't kill the child marriage laws. Make it make sense, right? Make it make sense, right? You kill child molesters, but you don't kill child marriage laws. Interesting. Interesting. You let child marriage laws happen in your country. You don't protest. You don't do nothing about it. You don't halfway know about it. I have educated policemen about it. Me. Running around musty in their own uniforms. Running around musty. Have you ever educated the police? I have. Have Angela Bassett ever educated the police? Well, pretty sure she hasn't. See, this is where I'm really at. You think it's a game, and it's not. Have you ever talked face to face to the police and say, yo, you know they got child marriage laws in the country? No, I did it. I'm serious. I was on the streets. Police came up to me. That was my opportunity. Because I know they were trying to check me out anyway, based on all these politics. So I said, you know they marrying children in this country, don't you? Police said, what? Hold up. What? I said they got laws to marry children in America. Do you know that? I knew they didn't know. The police didn't know. He said, you know what the police said? We thank you for this information. Angela Bassett, while she running around getting musty in a police uniform, did the police ever thank her for her information? For any information? No, they never thought her for no information. This is why I'm above thugs, gangsters, and everybody else. This is why. Pay attention. It's like the Twilight Zone. I'm the only one. Can you imagine how I feel? I'm the only one that know about these people marrying children, and the rest of y'all blind. Just blind as can be. Blind as a bat, like we say in the South. I don't know if a bat is really blind, but we always used to say that. Blind as a bat. I guess because bats run into stuff, I guess. But can you imagine how I feel? When Michael Jackson shouldn't have even been done like that. If I was his lawyer, I would have said, but ain't y'all marrying children in America? If I was Michael Jackson's attorney, I would have said, but ain't y'all marrying children? So his conduct, y'all marrying children as young as X amount of age, this age. His conduct, I just want y'all to put that in your perspective while you're judging him, that right here in America, y'all got the lowest age of consent worldwide. Oh, you didn't know that? They got the world record. This is a whole other law right here. This ain't the child marriage laws. America got the world record for the lowest age of consent in the world. Oh, you didn't know that? I know. It got worse and worse. Can you imagine how I felt when I was getting this information? The lowest age of consent is 7 years old. In the state of Delaware, in the year 1880, the age of consent in Delaware in the state of Delaware was 7 years old. The Americans, their history, oh, they talk about our history. Why wouldn't their history matter? Do they put a time expiration on your history and say that was too long ago? So why should we say it's too long ago? It still defines, it tells you the whole, it builds links together to show you who they are. Right or wrong. If not for any other reason, we look up this history, we put it all together, and it shows us, it makes a good definition of who they are. They got the world record for the lowest age of consent at 7 years old. Go look it up right now. Go look it up right now. The age of consent was 7 years old in the state of Delaware in the year 1880. That means American men were having sex with 7-year-old girls by law. At that time, this is facts. This isn't conspiracy theory. I pride myself on never talking about conspiracy theory. See, the Jedi mind trick is they tell you I'm talking about conspiracy theory. What a conspiracy theory at? Show me at any point in place in time where I talked about a conspiracy theory. You just can't believe this information is real because it's coming from a prophet. A prophet bringing information from different places, from different dimensions. Dimensions you didn't know about. He reveals dimensions in your country you didn't know about. When you was having sex with children by law at 7 years old. That covers all age brackets, don't it? 7 years old is in the first age bracket. When you say, I would say about 10 years old, that's the first age bracket. Then 11 to what, 14? Well, you could say, go ahead and say 17. 11 to 17, about 6 years. That's fair. 10 years, then the next age bracket is 6 years. 11 to 17. That's about right. It's about 2 age brackets. 7 is in the first age bracket. Now, for other kids to interact with other kids sexually is understandable. You was grown men in America interacting with 7-year-old girls by law. I challenge you to go and look anywhere in the world and you would not find 7 years old as the age of consent in all the modern day history. In all the modern day history, as far as I know, there was nobody who made the age of consent at 7 years old. That's the world record. America not only marries children, they made the world record. There's no other country that had the age of consent at 7 years old, buddy. So there you have it. That's young as it gets. It's no excuse for you to be playing with me, buddy. If y'all even had that kind of history, which you do, when you think people that got that kind of history would sit down somewhere, at least if you don't feel like you should be incriminated for it, at least you should sit down for it. Right. When you know the countrymen, your forefathers was having sex with 7-year-old girls. I'm just saying. They found that desirable. So I can show you where you found 7-year-old girls desirable as Americans. So then I wouldn't hold the perspective of your forefathers into consideration when we're judging what is acceptable for sex or who feels what age is acceptable for sex. I wouldn't put your forefathers' perspective on having sex with 7-year-old girls into the equation of what we actually do and don't do and what we actually feel about children sexually. I wouldn't consider that. I wouldn't consider your forefathers. When we always do considering the Constitution and everything else, but then when it comes to You see what I'm saying? We consider their perspective when it comes to the Constitution. How old is the Constitution? But we don't consider their perspective at a later time after the Constitution, when they thought it was acceptable to have sex with 7-year-old girls. You don't think I'm gonna hold that in perspective when you judging other people? When you judging Jeffrey Epstein, I'm gonna go to your forefathers. I'm gonna go to what your ancestors did. 7 years old, buddy. You can go look it up right now. The age of consent was 7 years old in the state of Delaware. You can't, listen, it's nothing you can say about that, buddy. It's nothing you can say. It's nothing can be said. Nothing can be said, buddy. In the rest of the country, the age of consent, if you want to know what the other state of the country was, because it wasn't all the states. It was just Delaware. But that's enough, right? The rest of the country at that time was 11 and 12 years old. That was everywhere else. It was not 18 nowhere else at that time. No other state at that time had 18 as the age of consent like now. Well, a couple states got it. It was 11 or 12 years old in the rest of the country. Not even teenagers. So what do you think they was doing? With that perspective, to go as far as to put laws together, what do you think they was doing if they made those kind of laws? Take a wild guess, buddy. People don't make laws like that, especially men. Dirty and nasty as men can be. Men don't make laws like that, and nobody ain't doing nothing. And that's what you need to think about right now. Men don't pass laws to marry children and Jedi mind trick us to make us think ain't nobody doing it. Oh, somebody's doing it. If somebody's molesting children, you don't think nobody marrying children? People molesting children, but they not marrying them, but they got rights to marry them. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. Listen, man. Listen. Just because you don't see it, don't mean they not doing it. Just because you don't hear about it, come on, man. Don't be naive. You got gullible curls. That's what I call it. Your hairdo is gullible curls. You got gullible. You got gullible curls, don't you? You women got gullible curls. Yeah, girl, give me gullible curls. What you want today, baby? I want gullible curls. You got gullible curls, don't you? You got gullible curls. Well, yeah, you got gullible curls because you know, how you don't think that they taking advantage of child marriage laws and they made them while Donald Trump was president? How you think they not taking advantage of it? So they just made these laws while Donald Trump was president, but you don't think nobody's taking advantage of it. So they just passed the laws. That's it. That's all you think. Well, I don't think they're gonna broadcast it. Well, they haven't thus far. They haven't broadcasted it thus far, have they? So why would they start now, buddy? Why would they start now? Why would they start broadcasting now child marriage laws now? What I want you to realize is what you don't want to accept. That the prophet is showing you, a real sensei, is that they've had child marriage laws the whole entire time. You know what the entire time means? All the good history for minorities, for black, Hispanic, Latinos, what we consider the good time of America. We ain't thinking 1920 was the good times, are we? No, not for us. It was a good time for white America. You know, white people can say, oh yeah, back in the 1830s, you know, the ancestors were doing this over here, you know. And yeah, we had to do this over here, you know, we had to get wood over here. You notice black people don't talk about the 1840s because it wasn't a good time for us. That's why. White people could go back, oh yeah, you know, back in the 1912, you know, the only good time that we had in America for black people and Hispanic and Latinos, you want me to tell you what it was 4 decades. Do you realize we only enjoyed 4 decades of America? Guess what the 4 decades are? The 1960s, the 1970s, the 1980s, and the 1990s. We only enjoyed 4 decades of America. We didn't enjoy 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, 1950s. When you heard black people talking about the 1940s? Like they really enjoyed it. Like they was enjoying themselves. When you heard black people talking about the 1950s, yeah, back in the 55, you ever heard black people talk about 55? And like a complete good enjoyment. No, they talk about survival, how hard, so you know what they did, but was it all good? No. The only 4 decades that we act like it was all good was the 1960s, when we started getting the music. When we started doing the music, we started playing sports. As time went by, with the sports and the music, we started enjoying and having nostalgia moments in America. Before that, we had no real nostalgia. Total nostalgia. Until you got the music culture and the sports culture. Safe to say, that started around the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. So for black people, we got 4 decades that we enjoy. You ain't gonna never hear the average black person talk about nothing beyond the 60s. We're gonna talk about music in the 60s, culture in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. Now white people might not realize this. You ain't gonna hear no black people talk about no 1930s like y'all do. Yeah, back in the 1930s, we used to bottle wine over here. We used to have a wine cellar over here. We used to distribute wine over here in the 30s. You hear black people talking about stuff like that? Only you. Did you notice that you're the only one talking? Because that's how bad it was for us. You see? We only start talking about history in a fond way in America. Started in the 60s, the 70s, in the 80s, and the 90s. Now we back to hating it. We only enjoyed 4 decades of America. That's sad. Do you realize that? I'm probably the only black person that you will hear. Tell me the best decades for black people in America. You didn't think about it. What's the best decades for black people? The 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And we still lost Martin Luther King Jr. in the 60s. We lost Malcolm X in the 60s. We lost Tupac in the 90s. Biggie in the 90s. We lost people all through them times. But it was still the best times. The 1960s, the 1970s, the 1980s, and the 1990s. That's all we talk about. Do you realize that? Only 40 years did we enjoy in this country. Let that sink in. Let that sink in, buddy. Only 40 years. Only 40 years did we enjoy in this country. Only 40 years. You got hundreds of years here, right? We only enjoyed thoroughly 40 years in America. After the 2000s, it got strange for everybody. 9/11 happened, all this stuff happened, the war in Iraq, it just was strange. It's been strange the whole time. I can't tell you really no time in in the millennium that we really enjoyed it. If you come from an older generation, we ain't really enjoy no millennium. I mean, we did stuff, not really. Now, tell me some good moments in the 21st century. That's why I always tell people the last real decade of America was the 1990s. That was the last decade. Think about it. The culture, the music, everything all together and moving in harmony. That was the 90s. That was the last decade. That was the last decade that was like that. After the 90s, it was no harmony in culture, music, everything coming together in unison where it made sense. Because the hearts of people changed. That's what it was. See, you can't create things. You can't create a beautiful world with music and culture and everything that it consists of, that it did consist of, without love. Without love and good vibration, you can't create. That's why music fell off, everything fell off, because the love was gone. When the love is gone, there's no inspiration. You can't really make no beautiful inspirational songs. You get your best songs when you got love and you got a good environment. I can tell you that as a songwriter, you're gonna come up with your best music when when love and love is in the air and good music and good vibes is in the air, everything like that. When it's confusion like this time right here, it's a breakdown of everything. That's why everything sounds so destructive. The music sounds destructive. It got to, because the times is destructive. That's the only thing that you can draw from. You can't draw for something that's not there. So if it's a destructive time, you're going to complement that with destruction in your music. That's why rap is perfect for this time. Because that's the inspiration they draw from. It's destruction that's going on in the atmosphere. And that's the energy in the atmosphere. So you can only draw from something really that's really in this atmosphere. That's what's going to be real to people. As a matter of fact, if you made love songs, it wouldn't be real to people because people ain't living it. They're living destruction. So while you might criticize the rap music, it's the energy that complements the energy in the atmosphere. It's a reciprocation of the energy that's in the atmosphere. Okay? It's a complementary music to the atmosphere. It complements the atmosphere. Back in the day, love was everywhere. There was a sense of community. There's no sense of community. That's why I'm gonna do a video on this. There's no. Can everybody update to the fact that there's no sense of community? No, there's not. When you go outside and you know the people next door and y'all cool and y'all talk, there's no sense of community. That's gone. Ain't no sense of community. See, some people don't move right, don't know how to move right. There is no sense of community. No, you don't know people around you. You don't know nothing about them. They don't care nothing about knowing you. Everybody's in their own lane and shell. Everybody just in their own lane. We don't care about each other no more. That's how it is. There's no sense of community. If you think it's a sense of community, you losing your mind. There is no sense of community no more. That's gone. You got different types of communities that people gravitate towards, like police community. Okay, yeah, you got police community and these secret society communities, but a sense of community, that's gone. Because you got too many different worldviews. Like even now with this war in Iran, now people realize everybody ain't happy about that. There's protests all over everywhere in LA and Los Angeles. They protesting about the war, everything. Everybody's not happy about it. It didn't leave a good taste in everybody's mouth. Which means, Trump life is in danger. Not just by people in different countries, people right here. If you know people protesting about what happened, what that tell you? All it takes is one crazy nut. That's what it tells you. That's what it tells you, man. Like I said, us as black people, we only cared about the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, and the 90s. 4 decades, only 40 years we hold significant in this country. And that was because of the music and the culture and the sports and everything else and all the little TV shows and everything we had going on. All of that is gone now. Okay? Come to terms with it. Come to terms with it. Like I like to say, stop fighting the feeling. The feeling that it's all gone. Okay? It's not coming back because, like I like to say, once the minds of the people is gone, it's over. You can't get back a mentality once it's gone. Once that love that was in the 80s and the 70s, once that love is gone, like that was in the music and all of that, once that's gone, and people soul don't vibrate like that no more, you can't get that back. Ain't nothing you can do. So that's how you know it's no hope, because the minds of the people is gone. That's something you can't get back. You can give people money, you can give people all kind of things, you can get better housing, everything. Once their mind gone, it's over. Now you're waiting for the destruction of a civilization so that humanity can rebuild with humility. See, once a civilization goes up so high, the next thing that comes out of it is arrogance and pride, right? To where they do anything. And how you know it's the end of a community is they start persecuting God's people. That's when you know they have met their peak in arrogance. Hold up. This is how you know they met their peak in arrogance. Any civilization, you can go to more than one. When they begin to fight God's people and they know they're doing it on purpose, that's when it's almost over for any civilization. That's always the telltale sign. Glory to God. When they start persecuting God's people, they have met their peak in arrogance. And they're sure to be destroyed. And once they're destroyed, humanity is leveled down again, and they have to rebuild. And through that rebuilding is humility all over again. Because now you're desperate, you're hungry, you're busted and disgusted, broke, busted and disgusted. Now you're humbled down again as a community. That's the only way it works. Is civilizations have to be leveled down when they're prideful like this. That's the only, think about what I'm saying. That's 7 out. When they're prideful like this, they have to be leveled down. You can't fix it. The only thing that can fix it is destruction. Because once it's destroyed, people are humbled. Oh, you'll be humbled. When it ain't nothing out there no more, ain't no fast food. You can't go to McDonald's, can't go to Papa John's and Pizza Hut, ain't no more of that. It's just bread and chicken breast and bread. Chicken breast and bread. Listen, you'll be humbled. Whatever it takes, God makes sure he humbles people. See, like I like to say, history is full of surprises. History is full of surprises for the humanity that lived through it. They experienced all type of surprises that they did not expect. You haven't even seen half of the surprises that you're about to get as Americans. Oh, this ain't nothing. COVID was the last surprise. You would have never thought something like COVID would have happened to America. See, now you're back in right focus. Where 1 million people died from COVID. And people die every week from COVID, even now. Go Google it. How many people die from COVID? Go Google it right now. People still die from COVID right now, buddy. Oh, you didn't know that? because the number isn't as significant as it once was. They're not going to put it on CNN, like that. People are still dying from COVID. Okay? That's the last surprise in your society. You could say this killing of the Iranian leader is a surprise. That's a surprise too. But it's a lot more coming to people like you, because I'm going to do a whole video about this. In order for a society to live again, it has to be leveled down. Because it's so much pride, it is not going to make it. Another sign is when you got poor people that's prideful and arrogant, it's almost over too. How you prideful and arrogant and you broke and you're a homeless, you basically a bum. But you walk around here like you Al Capone. You ain't talking like me. You ain't making no sense like I am. But yet you walk around here like you a gangster. You see how arrogant black people are? They ain't gangsters. If a gangster, you want me to tell you what a gangster is? In my definition? I'm sure you would like to know my definition of a gangster. You know what my definition of a gangster is? A gangster, by definition of activity, is someone with multiple streams of income. A gangster is someone who, that's why I tell you I'm not a gangster. Do I got multiple streams of income? I do not. A gangster has multiple streams of income. A business over here, a business over there. That's a gangster. A gangster has more than one stream of income. And the aggression and the violence is just a strong arming to keep these streams of income afloat, to defeat the competition. So the violence is just a byproduct. It's not the forefront. This is what Black America got confused. A gangster is a person with multiple streams of income. The violence is a byproduct, not what defines the gangster. What defines the gangster is strong arming your way through life with multiple streams of income. And you'll do anything to have those multiple streams of income. Selling drugs, multiple businesses, that's a gangster. What defines him or her is them strong arming their way through life to get, this is the end result, to get multiple streams, not one, multiple streams of income. That's a gangster. Okay? Now, along the way, you got competition. In a perfect world, you would just have gangsters that just made money and nothing would happen. But you have competition. You got player haters. You know what I mean? And then that's when you have to strong arm against the competition. And that's what y'all think is a gangster. That's what you take notice to. Because you ain't take notice to the money because you ignorant. You didn't take notice to the multiple streams of income because you ignorant. You wasn't focused on that. You was focused on seeing this man out in public. This is how it started. Doing whatever he was doing to these other people. You thought, wow, this is crazy. This person is crazy. And that's what black people and a lot of poor people thought was a gangster. That's how they found him. That's how they seen him. The person that's outlandish in public doing violence to people. Violence acts, they thought that's how they knew who was a gangster. But that's not what defines a gangster. What defines the gangster is the multiple streams of income. By the time you see him, he's strong arming out in the streets. Now that's the original gangster. Now by the time you got to black people, you took the byproduct of a gangster and put that to the forefront of what a gangster is. That's why we got the problems. You took the strong arming, what he has to do to survive, the byproduct, what he has to do to survive among many gangsters with streams of income, surviving the best way they know how, improvising, right? You emulated the byproduct the most instead of the multiple streams of income. You just got around to being real gangsters. You just got around to it with multiple streams of income. But before that, all you took notice of was the byproducts of being a gangster, which is strong arming to survive, to keep that streams of income. Because as you can imagine, here in America, it ain't gonna come easy, and ain't nobody gonna let you have it easy. So you gotta strong arm to keep that income, and that's what a lot of people emulated, and that's why we didn't get a mafia as black people. We didn't get no mafia because what we emulated in gangsters was not the multiple streams of income. We emulated the byproduct of violence. And that's why we produce gangbangers. Now, gangsters and gangbangers are not the same thing. Once again, a gangster is multiple streams of income. Perfect example is Al Capone. Al Capone sold alcohol when it was illegal. That's a gangster. He had multiple streams of income, right? That was the whole thing. That was what it was. That's what made him a gangster. He improvised and did whatever he had to do. That's a gangster. Now you look at the byproducts, which is the violence to keep his money, right? And you emulate that as Americans. And now you got a whole different animal, which is the gangbanger. The gangbanger ain't gonna have no multiple streams of income. They might have little different hustles, but more than anything, what became the culture among gangbangers was just violence, which was the byproduct of a gangster. So a gangbanger is just basically the mutation of a gangster, where it's just a person just bent on violence. Like I like to say, my generation was the first murder, kill generation. The Generation X. I come from Generation X. We was the first steppers, if you will, drilled. We was the first ones like that. That's why kids can still relate to me, because we was the first generation like that. Now people older than us, y'all come from the gangster era. You know what I'm saying? Where people had multiple streams of income. That's how you know who old and who young. Because what you emulate, you know what I'm saying? You're going to emulate people with multiple streams of income if you old as a gangster. If you young, a gangster to you is going to be a gangbanger type of mentality. You know what I'm saying? Shoot them up, murder, kill. You just clash with people, and it really ain't even no beef, or it really, it ain't no drugs even being sold. If you notice, most kids being killed, it ain't even a drug deal going bad. It's people that choose to take the byproducts of being a gangster, which is the strong arming, right? And they make that the forefront of who they are. Just a strong arming person. The byproduct of a gangster. People are literally the byproduct of a gangster, which is just a strong arming. So you got a whole bunch of people that just emulating the strong arming part of the gangster. That's all they like, which is backwards. See, if our culture was how it needed to be, you would emulate the multiple streams of income. We didn't do that. Some gangsters did, they had legitimate businesses. They might have had a dry cleaning business, a restaurant, and it was normal. It wasn't nothing illegal going on. But they had the strong arm That's where it got tricky. And sometimes they might have a little gig on the side that ain't quite legal. And, you know, and then everybody else realize they can do that too. See how that started? And then you got little alley cats that want to fight you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're doing the same thing in the alley, right? And that's where the strong arming comes in. That's common sense in the jungle, if you understand the jungle. That's all that is, man. You know, we as black people never prided ourselves on being holders of multiple streams of income. We wanted the byproduct of being a gangster. That's why it's all messed up. The mentality is all gone. You know, because you got some people, it's so bad now in 2026, you got some people that only smoke weed and got guns, and that's it. They don't sell drugs. They have no intentions of selling drugs. They have no intentions of hustling or having multiple streams of income. They smoke weed and listen to music, and they ready to shoot people. See where we at? No gangsters. Not as far as the real definition. Just strong arming for no apparent reason. See, in 2026, they just strong arming for no apparent reason, bro. That's what it is. You know, you always gonna have hustlers out there, but I'm talking about really what's really most consistent is just people taking the byproducts of gangsters. And that's why I tell people I'm not no gangster. If I was a gangster, I would have multiple streams of income. If you tell me you a gangster, I take the big city's perspective of a gangster. Not the country city, not Charlotte's perspective of a gangster. Not these other cities. I look at, you know, not even parts of LA. I don't take their perspective on what a gangster is. A gangster to me is a person that got multiple streams of income. That's a gangster. And then he got a strong arm, he or she got a strong arm, and that's what y'all call gangster. What really is gangster is the hustles. That person strong arming to get money. That's gangster. When you go through life, you get tired and you get money, and you don't care what you gotta do. You step on whoever you gotta step on. See, that's the gangster coming out. I step on anybody to get where I'm going. That's what a gangster would do. And that's the part y'all emulate. But really the truth is, man, this is just a person that says, yo, I'm going to live life. I'm going to get money. I'm going to find a way. I'm finna do it now. It's not going to take a long time. That's a gangster to me. A gangbanger is a person that's out here, you know, with packs of people. You know, a gangster might be solo, really. A gangbanger gonna be in packs with people and everything. It's just a whole different lane, you know. They're not one and the same. They're not one and the same. Gangsters and gangbangers is not one and the same. And I think, you know, everybody should have been differentiated that, especially out west in California. Everybody should have been understood the difference between gangsters and gangbangers. You know what I'm saying? It's not one and the same, bro. That's why I say me, I'm not no gangster. I'm a soldier. You know what I'm saying? That I am. You know what I mean? Gangster, I am not. If I had streams of income and I was strong arming, you know, then I would say I'm a gangster. If I was strong arming and had multiple streams of income, that's a gangster right there. A gangster should be able to put money on your head and you gone. That's a gangster, not a gangbanger riding around looking for you. Nah, that's a gangbanger. A gangster, when he responds, he put money on your head and you're out of here. He got money. He got streams of income. Why he gonna come out here and get his hands dirty? Unless he got to do it close hand. That's why he gonna keep a gun, because just in case somebody try to come up on him. But for the most part, a gangster gonna go put money on your head and it's over with. That's why people fear gangsters. Not because of the violence. They can just put money on your head and it's over. That's how it is. Now, gangbangers can't really put no. They can try. They can do it a little. They can kind of do it, because you got people that sell themselves for cheap to kill people. They kill people for like what, 5K, 10K, something like that. You know, but that's just because the prices are cheaper. You know, some people are just, they'll do stuff for, they'll catch a body for a little bit of money. That's, you know, but bona fide people that can keep that going. You know, if they got to keep it going. That's gonna be a gangster with streams of income. You just put money on people's head, just keep it moving. See, black people, we prided ourselves on being gangbangers instead of gangsters. It's a difference. That's why we ain't have no mob. You can't have no mob with gangbangers. You can't have a gangbanger mob. You can't have a gangbanger mafia. They too reckless. They too reckless. To be a gangster, you got to be professional. You got a business to run. You know what I'm saying? You got to have lights on. You got to talk to inspectors. You know what I'm saying? You got to be refined. You got to be able to function like a man in society. You can't be a delinquent, a gangbanger. And see, that's how the Italians look at us. You know, you got to refine yourself. You got to come out here and get some real money on these real blocks doing legal stuff. You know, you got to get some of this legal money. If you really want to get this money, you got to get some legal money. You can't just have a legal money, man. You know what I'm saying? No, you gonna get locked up eventually. You gotta get some real legal money. You gotta get multiple amounts of legal money. You're gonna get haters even then. And once again, that's when the gangster gonna come out as far as the violence, you know. Because you just getting your money and people hating on you. You know what I'm saying? You got multiple streams of income and people jealous. I mean, jealousy has always been around. You know, so sometimes the strong arm is just out of retaliation for jealousy. You know, but for me, like I said, I start to enjoy out of all the different lanes, the soldier, because the soldier is the one that's going to be the last man standing. When the gangster is gone, when the gangbanger is gone, the soldier is going to be the one that's still here. Because being a soldier is not just up in arms and shooting. You got two parts of being a soldier. You fight people and you fight the elements. You fight the elements, which means like if you're in the wild, you can survive. So that's why like a real soldier is going to learn how to survive off the land, learn to eat edible nuts. I started looking up edible vegetation. You start looking up edible vegetation and nuts and things, because if you just got guns and you killed all your enemies, but you're in a foreign land, or the land is destroyed, then what? How you gonna survive? So a full soldier is trained to survive humans and survive Earth. You know, survive the weather. You got to learn how to survive cold and hot and heat. Stay hydrated. If you hot, you got to learn to stay warm. If you're cold, if it's all of that is part of being a soldier. To survive the elements, you know, you gotta learn edible plants and vegetation, stuff you would overlook as a civilian. You gotta like, for example, I looked up daisies. I didn't know you could eat daisies. Dandelions. You could eat dandelions, acorns, stuff we wouldn't even think. Like I'm like, I wouldn't eat an acorn. You would if you was hungry. There's all type of vegetation you can eat. That when things hit the fan, it'd be patches of different vegetation. You could have ate that. You could have ate dandelions, I think daisies, and you eat a whole bunch of them and you're gonna get full. You eat a pot of them, you know what I'm saying? Heat them down. Listen, don't look at it and eat it. You eat whatever you got. Acorns too. You can eat acorns. Sure, man. You know, that's why, like me, I did a little breeze over with trying to find edible plants and nuts and things and that's naturally in the wild. But I'm going to do a deeper study. I'm going to do based on Pacific geographics, like in the South versus the North versus the West Coast, and in the middle of the country, Kansas and everything, and just learn the different vegetation and different wild plants and edible nuts that you can have that grow wild naturally. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of stuff that's around you naturally. You know, people ain't harvest all this stuff. You know, if you think just in terms of fruit, that's what's gonna get you, fruit and crops. You know, you don't realize there's other things that people don't harvest because they just don't really want it unless they gotta survive off of it. Like acorns, you can eat acorns. So you could get a whole big old thing that if you had an acorn tree, you could just live off the acorns. if you was in the wild. I mean, you know, you would be satisfied. You wouldn't starve. And then you might have a patch of vegetation that's edible somewhere else. And you got to learn to eat that stuff. See, America is going to be so surprised, man. Like, as soon as this stuff hit the fan, I'm going back down south, bro. You can't live in New York when it hit the fan unless you want to die here. And some people can respect that. If you don't want to move around and you love your city and you don't want to go no further, it's going to be soldiers like that. They don't want to go no further. They just rather die here in New York. You can't. And when you realize a man thinks like that, you can't convince him. You can't. Because his soul don't want to go on anyway. His soul don't want to go on. So when a man is like that, if he want to die here in New York, you gotta leave him here. You know what I'm saying? But when this hit the fan, you're gonna see an exodus out of New York. Ain't nobody can be here. How you gonna be here? Everything, all the stores gone, all these people you gotta fight against. You couldn't win. If you had guns, how you gonna win in New York? You got 5 boroughs. You got hundreds of blocks in Harlem, in Brooklyn, in Manhattan. Them hundreds and hundreds of blocks. How you gonna kill all them people? You can't beat all of that. You gotta leave. So I figure like most people, that's gonna dawn on them, right? If you got any bit of a military inclination, if you're inclined militarily, and even in 2%, your brain gonna tell you, you got too many enemies here to fight. You can't stay here in New York. You gotta go back down south. So for black people, we gonna go back to the mothership when this is all over. Once you see the system collapse, you have to leave New York. That's all I'm waiting for. Once the system collapses, I'm leaving. That's all. Once it collapses and it's chaos and you can barely get on a Chinese bus, that's when you know it's time to leave. Chaos everywhere, people yelling everywhere. You can barely make it on a Chinese bus, people crowds and people yelling everywhere. It's time to go. It's not quite there yet, but it's almost there. It's going to take some more time. It's going to take some more things to happen. Some more surprising things to happen. You know, but it's definitely headed there. Because of the mentality. How you know for sure is not just by the economy and even the wars even. It's also, it's foundationally because of the mentality of the people. Once they become crazy like zombies and animals, that's what they're becoming right now. Killing their own children and everything. I'm talking about like stuff like that. Look, you remember that last white woman? She killed her child right before a show she had or something. This girl had a little show or something. The girl did nothing wrong, man. Well, I don't know what she said to her mother or whatever. Maybe she said something. I don't know, man, but it wasn't worth that. She killed her. Anna killed herself. I think people like that, their body should be, when a mother kills her child, her body should be burned. I don't think she should have a proper burial. It just is not enough. You know, it's not enough justice. You know what I mean? It's just not enough. When somebody kills their own child like that, I don't think they should have a proper burial. I think they should be burned and their body should just be thrown away, cooked or something. Cooked and fed to animals. How they get a proper burial and then go, you know, they done something like that and they get a casket, they get put in the grave, and how they get a proper burial? It's not justice. You shouldn't have a proper burial. That's justice. You should be thrown away like a dog. Just cut you up in sections like meat and throw you away. Or put you in a meat disintegrator or something. Just grind you up. Throw you away. That's justice after death, after a murder suicide. That's what some countries probably would do that anyway. Somebody that killed their own child, they probably just throw their body away. Don't throw it somewhere. Once the mentality of the people is gone, it's over. It's nothing you can do. That's why, even though Trump is doing all this stuff, like, it's not gonna get better because of the mentality of the people, man. That you can't fix that. So that means no matter how much money we get or give, it's not gonna make the people better. It's beyond money. Money isn't the issue anymore. It's the mentality of the people. They going crazy. You know what I'm saying? Where they just like to kill people. You know, they took the byproducts of being a gangster, and now people just like to smoke weed, and if somebody try them, you know what I'm saying, they ready to kill somebody else. You know, that kind of thing is going on. It's a whole culture of it. So, you know, you can't stop that mentality. Trump already know that. He already know. And with his mentality, you might be in danger. Because he's not the type of person to tolerate this ignorance from black people. I'm telling you right now. You think it's all good. You don't know that. Because we see he's not the personality to sit back and tolerate ignorance from black people. Especially when it spills into other countries. I mean, to other neighborhoods or other communities with white people and different things like that. Y'all are in the most danger than ever before. I'm telling you. Because of your own mentality. That's the bad. See, that's the part of the last days that people didn't think about. That we always thought about the government coming and doing this and doing that. But you know what actually became the truth? You know what actually became reality? The streets is just as filthy as the government. The community, not just the ghetto. I'm talking about the community, period. All these Americans are just as filthy and a threat to you as the government. That's what the truth became. As opposed to us thinking it was just going to be the government doing all this stuff. But you know what actually happened? The street, the community became just as filthy and as much as a threat as the government. That's the truth. Look at the mentality of the people. Killing their own family, children, everything. In America, sometimes for no apparent reason. Everything going good and everything. Look at that. Everything going good and everything, man. That's how you know, man. That's how you know it's over. Because of the mentality of the people. That's how you know. You could give them people money, they're not going to change. Like I like to say, if we gave everybody $5,000, most of us soul survivor, ghetto survivors, I can survive, me being a survivor, I can survive off, a street survivor, I can survive off of $5,000 a month. Easy. I can find me a little place to live for like 2 or 3. Then I got like $2,000 for food and my little phone. And that's it. That's all I would need. A little place to live. I'm going to spend most of it on that. Because I'm going to be out the way. I ain't going to be in the hood. Right? And I'm going to, have maybe 2 or 3, 2,000 left for food and my phone and something else I want, whatever other little stuff I need to buy, But I'm truly a street survivor. I'm truly a street survivor. My mom went through ghetto neighborhoods where they sold crack and everything. If you got crack in the neighborhood, it's ghetto. That's one of the signs. If ain't no crack there, it's probably not ghetto. Oh, if crack is easy to find and things like that, that's one of the most obvious signs, But I'm a ghetto survivor because I learned from people that grew up in hoods. The generation, my mom and my stepdad, they grew up in the hood. I can remember my mom cooking rice on a kerosene heater. And I used to go to school smelling like kerosene so strong that the teacher wrote my mom a letter because I smelled like kerosene. We ain't have regular heat, so the kerosene was so strong. Can you imagine, as a kid, I didn't even know? That's so embarrassing. I smelled like kerosene so much, I probably smelled up the whole room, smelling like kerosene. I didn't even know as a kid. If you ain't got them kind of stories where something like that, like something similar, where you had some type of story like that, then you probably wasn't ghetto. You know what I'm saying? Was something you was ashamed of. Something happened you was ashamed of. Some way you had to live you was ashamed of. Even when you think about it. I was a little kid. That means when I got on the school bus, whoever I sat beside, I smelled like kerosene. When I went to school, I smelled like it. To the point where my teacher wrote my mother a letter. You know what I'm saying? So, that's my story. That's part of it. You know what I'm saying? So that definitely is a ghetto survivor. But I'll say I'll progress who I am now and say I'm a street survivor. I'm a street survivor. Cause it really don't take a lot of effort to be from the hood. All it takes is being broke. I mean, so people that act like it takes so hard to be certified as ghetto, all it takes is poverty that black people gonna have. So it ain't hard for me to believe it, cause all you gotta do is be broke to have it. To have a ghetto story or anything, all you gotta do is be broke. So all you gotta do is have a ghetto story for your family to be in poverty. That's it. You know what I'm saying? It's just that people started emulating it and they just think it's so cool and all of this and everything like that, and it's disgusting. I don't take no labels anymore. I just say I'm a soldier and I'll do a crime if I have to for my life. But to say I'm a thug, no, I ain't even gonna say that. A thug is a criminal. Am I looking? I'll say this to progress that. A thug is a criminal looking to do some crimes. A thug is a person looking to do crimes on a day-to-day basis, on a weekly basis. A thug is somebody looking to do crimes on a weekly basis. That's a thug. Not somebody to do crimes every once in a while, once a year. You know what I'm saying? A thug is somebody that's looking to do crimes weekly. You know what I'm saying? At least weekly. Yeah, that part. So I'm not a thug. I'm a soldier. I survive the elements. Like I said, that's another part of being a soldier that some people don't have. A lot of gangsters don't have that part. A lot of thugs don't have that part. So when this stuff hit the fan, no matter how much heart you got heart ain't gonna make you live. You having heart ain't gonna make you live. You gotta be smart. You gotta be able to survive off the land. You gotta know when to leave certain cities. Like New York, like I said, as soon as this stuff happens, you got some thugs that's gonna try to go get money. They're gonna try to do more crimes. They're gonna get more indulged in. Some thugs is gonna get more indulged in crimes as it fall apart. Right or wrong. They're gonna get more indulged in as things fall apart. As society is weaker, they're gonna prey on the weakness. They're gonna prey on that. But a soldier gonna move on. I ain't indulging in nothing around here. I'm moving on. I'm sidestepping it. I'm sidestepping this stuff. That's what a soldier gonna do. I'm gonna walk through all of this while everybody succumb to just what can they do here. Instead of looking above past this situation. See, a soldier gonna do that. You gonna sit around and look around and see what you can do around. That's what a thug gonna do. A gangster probably gonna leave New York too. He got all this money. Why stay here? Why stay here? Only people that's gonna be here is thugs, criminals, looking to do crimes. Them type of dudes. They the only ones gonna be lingering around. A gangster gonna see what's going on. Most gangsters ain't even here in New York, probably. Bad as it is now, with ICE and all this stuff, all the legal stuff, immigrants and stuff. A real gangster probably on the outskirts of New York. New York State, where they can drive into the city and all of that, but not New York City. Most good gangsters gonna be on the outskirts, outside of New York City. It don't make no sense to be here. You just come here for opportunities, get money, and come right back out. Go back home. You just look at this place as a place to get money, a job, a wasteland to get money, and then you go home, drive across whatever bridge you drive across, and you go back home. That's if I was a gangster, that's what I would be doing. I wouldn't be doing nothing. I wouldn't be living here. No, absolutely not. You being somewhere across the bridge, and in New York State, one of them little cities, one of them little counties somewhere that nobody don't know about. Not the obvious ones, the ones nobody don't know about. That's what the gangster's gonna be. I'm gonna be in a little town nobody don't know nothing about. I don't want to be around a whole bunch of other thugs and criminals and competition. See, y'all should be burnt out on the city life by now. I don't want to be, all you around is a whole bunch of competition and thugs and criminals. Why be here? Why not go somewhere else where there's no competition, where there's no thugs and criminals? That's what a good gangster gonna do. I'm gonna go somewhere in a county where nobody ain't at. But I know that ain't an original thought. That's not an original thought. Other gangsters gonna do the same thing. So you're gonna see them. You're gonna be on another level with other gangsters doing the same thing. They gonna go to a city where nobody don't know them, or and where there's no gangsters and thugs really, and where ain't no street life, where everybody just up on their feet. Makes sense? There ain't nobody on the streets. Ain't none of that going on. Everybody up on their feet. That's where a thug gonna go, because that's gonna be more of a safeguard against the streets. Because you ain't gonna be here unless you got money. So I eliminate a lot of street ignorance with being in a community where everybody up on their feet. It's a fort against the streets. You know what I'm saying? You go somewhere where everybody up on their feet. That's half of the streets gone right there. That's half of the ignorance. Because all it takes is ignorance for something to happen to you, or for you to have to do something, or to defend yourself. It don't take it. You just being in a certain neighborhood. It don't take no big boss. All it takes is somebody that want to rob you, or worse. You know what I'm saying? So when you get money, you go to a neighborhood that's a fort against them type of people. That's why you can't be all this all that pro-black stuff will get you killed, man. Because that's gone. It ain't there no more. Everybody talking about, like with Tupac, people like him, Tupac should have had somebody sit down and tell him, black people don't love you, bro. Not like they used to. So it ain't no need to try to act like we gonna do stuff together, bro. Get your money and stay in your lane and stay away from these ignorant people. You know what I'm saying? Like Tupac was just trying to help everybody. You know what I'm saying? He was the last of that type of person. Like I'm not like that. I'm not trying to figure out how I can help anybody anymore. Cause it's not reciprocated. Nobody's trying to help me anymore. Not really. Nobody ain't trying to help me anymore. So why would I go out there with that kind of energy? You just gonna be a type of prey. That's all. I hate to tell you. You can have all the best interests in mind, but think about it. In the jungle, people just gonna see you as a come up. That's it. So, you just gotta adjust. That's what a soldier gonna do. I adjust to any situation. Another sign of being a soldier is you can adjust. I can adjust to any situation. If it's a whole bunch of people like in this building, for example, these are all enemies. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep my weapons. You know what I'm saying? And if anybody want it, they're gonna get it. I'm gonna give you exactly what you want. That's me adjusting to the situation. That's not me being a tough guy. That's not me being a gangster. That's me being a soldier. Cause if this wasn't here, I wouldn't be like this. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even be talking like this. If I was somewhere else, this is the true sign of a good person or a righteous man or a soldier. If I was somewhere else, I wouldn't even be talking like this because I wouldn't need to. You see what I'm saying? If I was somewhere else out the way, I wouldn't need to talk like this. As long as I'm here, this is how I am. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense to me. Now, if I go somewhere else where these elements are not at, then I'm gonna be more relaxed. I'm gonna be more loving. You know, and it's not a certain race. Let's look at not it being a certain race, but a certain mentality and a certain heart that you're around. If you're not around that, you're gonna be a loving person. You're gonna be a nice, cool, cordial person. You know, you're gonna step out on the scene and be cool. You know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of people trying to get to. If you know what's good for you. Because once this hit the fan, you can't be in New York City, man. Once this get a little bit worse, I'm telling you, I wouldn't even say 2 more years. Not even 2 more years, but 2 more years at max, which is about the time Trump is going to be getting out of office, man. After that, it's over, man. I wouldn't even be, after 2029, I ain't going to be here. No. You can't. Even no matter how much you love New York. The truth is, man, because I came here over 13 years ago, right? So if it's over 10 years, I can recall a New York that's gone. New York wasn't like this when I first came here. Nah, the energy, nah. It was still like the big city. Like you come here and this city belongs to you. You can walk through a crowd of people and nobody ain't paying attention to you. And you like it. That's why some celebrities live here too, because even though they're a celebrity, they can just walk through the crowds and nobody ain't gonna really say nothing to them. They gonna just respect, even if they know you're famous, they gonna respect you and just move past you. New York gonna treat you like you're a normal person, even if you're a star. So with that being said, New York used to be like you could just walk around in your own world, doing your own thing. That's how I liked it. Ain't nobody paying attention to you, but you still can feel the camaraderie, and every once in a while look at people and pay attention to people and watch people and everything. But you still in your own world. That's how New York used to be. But now you can feel all the attention is on each person you pass by. Everybody got their radar on you. The whole society is paying attention to each other. Paranoia, all that, most likely. But when I first came here, it's like you own the city because nobody paid attention to you. So it's like it's yours. It's like they there, but they not there. Unless you want them to be. Then you talk to people and you have these great conversations. I remember in New York, when I first came here, you can have a random great conversation with somebody. And it'll make your day feel better. It's almost like you was led to that person. You gotta live here to know what I'm talking about. And you just meet this nice person and y'all have this great conversation. See, I remember that New York. Now, it's not like that. I don't remember the last time I had like this great natural conversation. That might have been like 2016. That probably was the last time. This Jewish woman. This Jewish woman down in down on FDR, down by the water, you know what I'm saying? By the park over there, by the FDR park. Down there by 15th Street, something like that. By the library, down there by that part, right? So So like I had this nice radio that was from out of town that you can't find from New York. Like this pastel purple. It was pastel purple. It was a little boom box, so I was carrying it around. I brought it back up here. I bought it from Walmart down south and brought it back up here. So I was walking around with it, and she said, this is a complete stranger. She's like, "Oh, I like your radio." So she was smoking a cigarette, and she had the Star of David on her. She had a Star of David, the gold Star of David. So she was a Jewish woman. Me and her sitting there smoking cigarettes, talking or whatever. We had a great conversation, man. Them type of conversation where you don't remember, but you know it was good. Man, and how I know it was a good conversation? Because I was sitting out baking in the sun. It was hot that day. I was like cooking. But we had a great conversation, and she told me, you know what she told me? I do remember what she told me. Because she seen how a black person treated me that day. I was with this dude, right? And like I said, she stopped me by saying she liked my radio. So me and her started talking, and she had cigarettes, and the dude I was with didn't have no cigarettes. So I got a cigarette from her, and I was sitting there smoking with her, talking to her. But you know, she was kind of older, so I was kind of listening to her, you know, trying to be courteous too. That kind of situation. Don't you know, me and him had some wine, and he poured it out in front of us and threw the bottle in the park and walked away because I was talking to this Jewish woman. This is a black dude, and she seen him do that. She turned her head and seen him do that. She said, "Oh my gosh, he's crazy. He's dangerous. You should stay away from him." She said that to me. She said, "I don't know." She said this is what she told me, because she seen my spirit, right? Because I always been colorblind. She was like, "I don't know how, but you're gonna find your tribe." She said, "I don't know how or when, but you're gonna find your tribe." That's what she said. As to say, that's not your people. You ain't like them. That's what she was trying to tell me without saying it like that. And so, because I'm part Latino and Italian and Asian, I just have that multi blend. You know what I mean? That get misinterpreted sometimes. But I'm good with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, my last conversation was this Jewish woman, right? And this Jewish woman, she had the Star of David on a chain, a gold Star of David. And she told me, she said, "Look, I don't know." See, that's probably the person that was meant to be talking to me. She said, "I don't know how, but you gonna find your tribe." That's what she said. That's as to say, you not like them people. That Jewish woman was trying to tell me, nah, you not like them. Because she seen how I was and how I talked to her, and even her age and her race did not matter. She probably never experienced like somebody my age and from the South like me talking to her. She probably never experienced it. And with my background and everything, she probably ain't experienced nothing like that. She probably remember me as I remember her. And he threw the dude I was with, the black dude I was with, he actually killed 3 people. 2 or 3 people, because a robbery went wrong. And he wound up killing 2 or 3 people because they tried to rob him. But the reason why they not my tribe is because it's not because they dangerous, it's because they ignorant. You know what I'm saying? I'm dangerous myself. So it's not the danger, it's not that, it's the ignorance. That's what it is. I'm just as dangerous, if not more dangerous than the average black person. That's facts. I think that's something that people don't realize. No, they don't realize that. Because I'm not ratchet. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm not ratchet. See, I'm from the old school. We don't pride ourselves on being ratchet and all of that. To prove we black. We don't prove we black with ratchetness. I ain't gonna prove I'm a black man by acting ratchet. If anything, it's corny these days. You know what I'm saying? People might have thought I was playing that card. Nah, I'm from the streets. That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm saying. People might think I'm playing the card of being like this corny, ratchet kind of where it's almost now a novelty or something. I know how people think, especially if you're doing video, like this is a novelty. Nah, I'm from the streets. So I sound like rappers. Not because I really listen to rap, but because I done been so far through the streets. This is just how I am. You know? This is why even as a Christian, I still take proper precaution because you got to in the streets. If you're a Christian, you can't just walk around and say, well, ain't nobody gonna do nothing to me. You gotta take precaution. That's why I'm like that even as a Christian. So people might think, oh, I thought he was a Christian. Yeah, but I'm a street Christian. Which means if I'm on the streets and I'm a Christian, I done got used to taking that extra look at a person, not knowing if something will come out of it. You know what I'm saying? I have to do that. If I'm on the streets, I can't be a Christian with my eyes blind. So then you got people that's why I say it's a difference between people on the streets. People on the streets, man, and people that's in touch with the streets, that's Christians, and people that's like in control of environments, back and forth to church. We ain't the same type of people, because you don't have no danger. You don't deal with nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna look at the Bible a little differently. I'm gonna look at the Bible totally. Parts that you might have overlooked, like wars in the Bible, having wars in the Bible. Wars in the Bible, that's what you overlook. I don't, because I'm out here. You know what I'm saying? I'm everywhere I go, I'm in the streets. I'm the jungle. I call myself the jungle. I am the jungle. And I will consume you in my jungle. Okay? And if I claim to be the jungle, I know the rules and regulations of the jungle. So just like you got the rapper, the game, I'm the jungle. As in terms of that. Like if I probably had a rap name, I'd be called the jungle. You know what I'm saying? I'm the jungle. Because I done been everywhere. If I hadn't been everywhere, if I hadn't seen everything, I done been through every city you can think about. Chicago, I've been to Chicago. See, dudes didn't know that. I've been to Detroit. I got family in Detroit. I've been to the Midwest. Detroit was my first major city I went to. I went to Detroit back in 1999. And that's what turned me out. Once I seen Detroit, I was like, man. Because I'm from the South. I ain't never seen no big city like that big. Like these huge size of town. I was like, wow. Crazy. Like so Detroit, I got family in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if I haven't lived there, I've been through there. I've been through New Orleans. I've been to New Orleans, Chicago, Las Vegas, St. Louis, DC. These are the places I passed through. Dallas in Texas. I've been to Texas, Dallas, El Paso, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona. I done chilled in Phoenix. You know what I'm saying? I done been to Phoenix. Getting money too. That's when I was hot, boy. I was on the streets. I came straight from the Greyhound getting money. Off the streets, just connected right with the streets. That's how you know it's a street dude. I came straight from the Greyhound, went straight to the streets. Straight to the streets. Like found the hood, found the people on the streets, got money, everything. Drinking liquor, everything, getting money. In Arizona. You know what I'm saying? Straight from there, straight there. I'm right in sync with the streets. See, that's when you know somebody's a street person. I can go to your city and connect straight to the streets. If you ain't shiesty, if you ain't a shyster, you ain't a shiesty person, and you just out here, you know what I'm saying? And you know, I can connect straight to the streets. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't trying to, you know what I'm saying, take advantage of the fact that I ain't from there, your city, you know what I'm saying? I can talk enough to get what I need and get where I need to go and get my hustle going on. You know what I'm saying? Some people can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because they ain't really, you know, can't move with people in the streets and know how to move, you know, and respect and everything, and know how to move and don't cause nobody radars to go off. You know what I'm saying? So I can show you how I moved through Phoenix, got money, everything. I'm not bragging, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying that's because that life I don't want to live no more. Like the street life, hustling, you know. But I got there and got money, started drinking everything, drinking liquor, everything. Went across town in Phoenix. I'm way across town somewhere. That was a crazy day. Know what I'm saying? I had a layover. Everybody know to go to the Greyhound in Phoenix, man. You got them crazy layovers, right? So you know how to travel. Phoenix, man, you stay in Phoenix for hours, man. So I'm not gonna sit in no Greyhound for no hours. Hours? I'ma just go to the city. I'ma just hit the city. That's what I did. I just hit the city, made money. I was in the highway driving with a dude, took me to the highway. We done left there, got on the highway, went somewhere else. Boom. I'm in another part of Phoenix in the hood. I'm in a neighborhood in Phoenix. Getting money, everything. I state my price. You know what I'm saying? If you a weak dude, you gonna be nice. You ain't gonna state no price. You ain't gonna put no price on things. You know what I'm saying? I get money, I walk away, I get my liquor, I do that. You know, I was doing that. Went across town with somebody else. Had met my first Mexican woman. Me and her, she stepped to me. Me and her had a great time. You know, in Phoenix. That's all because I stepped out on the scene, man. That's like, so for me, that's when I really was just street, or like I could just move in the streets and get what I need quick. Money, meeting a nice woman, everything, all that stuff just happening. You know, you know, that's why I know what the streets is. I know what street people are. I know how it moves. You know what I'm saying? Once you get an idea how it moves, especially in your own country, you know how it moves. You know how street people are. You know, it's not too because the streets is poverty. It's really not too nothing out of the norm everywhere. You know, people just kind of trying to get money, humdrum, just kind of. It ain't too much, nothing different. It can't be. How different could it be if everybody broke or trying to hustle? I'm talking on street level, you know? It ain't too much, nothing different. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you know when people fake. You know what I'm saying? You just like, come on, man. It ain't nothing too much different, man. If you see me differently, and I'm talking like this, that's cause you a hater or something. Your mind is off or something. Because this is how street people talk. This is how they act. This is how they behave. You know? I take precaution. See, one thing I learned about a cat, you know, a lot of black people will say a cat is a scary animal. It's not a scary animal. It's a primal. The term is primal. Primal as if it's in the jungle. Where it's every step, it moves and advances with its every step, taking precaution and looking around like it's in the jungle. That's being primal. A dog is not... The domestic dogs that you see as pets, those are not prime. They're not more primal than a cat. A cat is not scary. A cat takes precaution with its every step. Like if you was in the jungle, you would have to be like that. You can't just walk through the jungle. even as a human, you can't just walk through the jungle, bouncing through the jungle. You gotta watch what's on your feet, your hands. You gotta make sure you ain't stepping through no spiders. You gotta watch all kind of stuff. You gotta turn around, look around, making sure you ain't being hunted. You gotta, all that kind of stuff. You gotta look above. You gotta look everywhere. And you gotta have that eye to like catch stuff that might be camouflage, everything, bro. You can't just walk haphazardly through the jungle. So a cat is the only animal that we befriended that really got that primal nature. You know what I'm saying? Especially a cat that's outside, that you let outside, it's gonna keep its primal nature alive, you know, because it gotta interact with the environments. But if you keep your cat inside, really, it really can't be. If it's a house cat, it's gonna be less primal. That's common sense. But if you the type of cat owner that kind of let your cat just roam around, they're gonna be more primal. Cause they if you notice, a cat ventures out, it sees everything as a grid, one big grid. That's why you'll find your cat next door, over the street, everything, cause it sees it as the jungle. It's like one big grid to them. That's why they almost get eaten by dogs in the next neighborhood, or you find your cat beat up all around, because this cat is everywhere. It's a primal animal. It goes everywhere. A dog don't move like that. A dog don't. It's not primal. It don't move through the jungle like that. It just runs around and just finds what it needs and everything like that. And it has a sense of survival, but it's not nowhere near a cat when they out there in the streets. They just more primal. You know what I'm saying? They proceed with caution. Dogs, you quicker to see a dead dog than a dead cat. You'll see a dead dog on the side of the streets. Dogs die all the time because they not primal. They not as primal. A wolf is primal in the canine kingdom. That's a primal animal, primal canine. But the domestic dogs you see is not primal. A cat on a domestic level is primal. And the funniest thing about the canine versus the feline family is the feline is the highest ranking. They got higher ranking beast than the canine. The highest ranking feline is a lion. A lion is the highest ranking feline. They look like a cat, they act like a cat sometimes. They lay on their back and they play like a cat, everything. A dog, the highest ranking canine is a wolf. You can't go no higher than a wolf. So in all actuality, people act like cats and dogs. A cat always loses to a dog until you go up the chain of command and you get to the lions and the jaguars. Those are all felines. Jaguars, leopards, cheetahs. If you look at the feline family, they got way more beasts than the canine family. The canine got the coyotes, wolves, all various wild dogs, but they ain't got nothing on the jaguars, the mountain lions. Look at all of that. The feline family got the mountain lions, cheetahs. A cheetah ain't even no joke. A cheetah ain't no joke. Jaguars, all kind of different cats. We can't even think about them all, man. Now think about the canine family. You got coyotes, wolves. That's the main ones I'm thinking about. And then different various types of kind of wolf-like coyote kind of jackals. You got jackals, and just basically wild dogs. But that's all it's not gonna be too much. Nothing different than coyotes and jackals and wolves. A wolf ain't no joke though. But a wolf can't play with no lions and jaguars. You know, that's just because if a jaguar get around a wolf neck one time, it's over. It's all over. They can't even put up a fight. And really a jaguar can take whatever a wolf can do. They can pretty much take that. And they just more fluid. You know what I'm saying? With how they move and everything like that. A jaguar is just gonna have more moves and more strategy in the fight. You know what I'm saying? Between a wolf and a jaguar, they gonna have more moves and agile. You know what I'm saying? Like more flexible, moving around and more 3D. You know what I mean? Like a wolf is gonna square up. square up with you. That's how they do. They stand off and square up with human beings. You know what I'm saying? A jaguar might pounce on you. It might leap on you. He might, think about that, man. An animal leap on you. They instead of charging you, he size you up and pounce on you like that. That's crazy. What could you do? An animal pounce on you like that? It's over, bro. If he pounce on the wolf, it's over. That wolf ain't gonna be able to do nothing, buddy. So the feline family moves up the ladder higher than the wolf, the canine family. And then when you find the highest felines is in Africa. I mean, I'm just saying. The highest felines you find in Africa. So, they don't even look at them as felines. That's the feline family. Feline family ain't no joke. I mean, if I had to choose between the feline family and the canine, I'm going with the feline. They got lions, panthers, mountain lions, jaguars, all kind of. I'm missing, like, it's a whole bunch of other kind of cats, man. Lynx, even the little lynx, bobcats, lynx. Look at that, even them. All other kind of little species of little feline cats, man. They all different sizes and everything, man. Up to the lions. Cougars, you got cougars, look at that. All them different type of feline cats, man. Them beasts, man. But that's the feline family. They primal, they take caution. You know what I'm saying? Even all felines, if you pay attention to them, they take caution. They primal. They're not scary. It's being attentive to everything. Like if you just move a cat, look, because it's sizing up what it got to do. It's not because it's scared, because he move around like he move quick and everything. That's primal. That's called primal. See, I learned that about the nature of cats. They're not scary. They primal. So yeah, man. Like, this stuff is popping off, man. But that's what I wanted to share about these rappers. You know what I'm saying? I haven't lost my way on what this video is about. But them rappers putting them songs out, like Ice Cube talking about he know it's illegal. She a minor and he know it's illegal. See, y'all let them get away with all of that. See, that's how it was. That's the truth. The truth is that tell you how it was. That tells you a lot about how America was. That's how it was. And that era ended back in 2009. About after 2009, it got strange in the world once again. But it didn't really hit to about, 2016, 17. That's when it got officially where, everybody hid the pedophilia, hid these inclined feelings to be with these girls and all that. That started being hidden around, I would say 2017, about 10 years ago, 9 years ago. So for the past 9 years or so, man, people done tried to deny the real America. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I voucher for it, but I'm not going to act like it wasn't like that. That's how it was. That's why, it's all coming to the light, but it just really, man, to me, it's just really no need to center on one person. It's no need to center on one person to me. Because it's a whole fallen world. once it's a whole fallen world, it's no need to focus on one person. You know, if anything, you should be focused on the laws. You should be focused on the laws of child marriage in this country. This country marrying children, that's what you should be focused on. But people are cowards, you know what I'm saying? They'll take people who they think is easy targets or easy marks, and you think you can play in my lane, you know what I'm saying? And now you see it's just as difficult as playing with the government, playing with me. I'm the jungle, buddy. Me on my own. You know, it's just understanding, bro. I already know what it is. You know what I'm saying? People want to play games. People want to put me in this situation on purpose. You know what I'm saying? They put me in this building, in this room on purpose. I beat these people, these secret society people. I beat them too many times for me to take them seriously. You know, it's you're not gonna prove anything. I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna die. I can leave anytime I want to. So how I'm gonna die? How can you assure I'm gonna die and I can leave anytime? I can leave this. You forgot about that, didn't you? I can leave here anytime I want. Did you forget about that? I'm not gonna be here much longer anyway. Either way it go, I'm not gonna be here much longer. You know what I'm saying? What is March now? I'm not gonna be here much longer, man. It's no need to. If you know, I shouldn't have to be here a whole year for housing. And this is, I know it's a lie. I know that's a lie too. Man, the last time I got an apartment through Haza, I was it was what, March, April, like 2 months. It took like 2 months, man. They assaulted my intelligence. It took like 2 months the last time I got an apartment. You know what I'm saying? This is like almost going on 3 times more. So all they're trying to do is figure out if they can beat me, and you can't. And I'm not going to be here much longer. There's no need to. There's no need for me to do it. I already know what it's about. I already proved myself. I'll just move on. You know what I'm saying? But see, this is why I move around. You see what I'm saying? It ain't because I'm doing nothing wrong. It's not because I'm incriminating myself. It's not because I'm telling on myself. It's not because I'm doing anything wrong. It's because it's ignorant people that can't accept that they've been defeated. So this is why I move on. It's not because I'm artistic. You know, artistic people move around a lot. That's what they say. You know, but it ain't, as you can see, it ain't got nothing to do with that. There's no way in the world I'm gonna stay in these same situations playing with these same ignorant type of people. It's not gonna happen. This is it. This is it right here. And I'm glad it's all happening. They ain't beat me, because really the truth is, man, like I've said before, I said this like maybe like 2 or 3 weeks before. At this point, it's already over. I'm just putting in overtime. I already concluded that before America attacked Iran. It's already over. I don't have to be here no more. I mean, I could leave New York and go back down south right now. My job is done. It's just depending on who you talk to. I'm smart enough and wise enough to know it's already over. It's already done. So my mission, you could say the foundation, the groundwork for my objective is accomplished. It's basically, especially with this war going on now. You know, I don't definitely have to be here now, and that's how I act. I don't have to be in New York now. Okay, it ain't no reason for my life to be taken. If anything, it's these people should die. That's what it don't. I wouldn't even look at the number, and God don't. God don't look at how many people it is. God look at, and I can prove that with the Bible. God never looks at, well, it's one of my people and it's hundreds of them. So we gonna let them live. God ain't never moved like that. God will this is what you need to know as Americans, just in case you don't know. And I'm glad I'm saying this, and I'm saying this as a prophet. God will let one of his people live and let millions of you die. I can prove that with the Bible. Noah. God let Noah live and everybody else died. Lot and his wife, they lived. Sodom and Gomorrah died. You can go through the Bible and see and understand God's principle that his people live and everybody else died, buddy. That's how it is. So that's something to keep in consideration, man. Keep that in consideration.